Yo, 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 yo.
And you know what else we have trust in? Queasy and Vino going for height.
Of course. If it's not them, it's the others. There's so
Ah
much
ouais,
fun.
c'est
Now, I promised you an
bien.
interview with Reddish. We're
C'est
going
bien
back
ce que t'as
there
fait.
in the Creator Lounge.
Ouais, toi.
And we're back. Sorry about that, guys. I
Baisse ta cam
accidentally
un peu vers le bas.
of a mic drop earlier as I was breaking that mic plug. But I'll introduce her again.
Et
It's gonna be Reddish, a fantastic creator
est-ce que
in
tu
the
m'entends?
Fortnite
Est-ce
scene.
que tu m'entends mieux comme
This is
ça
actually her first
ou
time
mieux
at
comme
this
ça?
event, being a fan. So let us all know how it has been experiencing the Global Championship.
It's been phenomenal. I was saying earlier, but you didn't hear
Attends,
that I've been
là
watching every single
ou
FNC for
là?
like the last 3 years, I think. But this is my first time watching someone
La
online
première ou
since
la
I couldn't
deuxième
make it
fois?
to the US last time.
Ok.
And
Ça
it's been
veut dire que mon
crazy
micro est
but
en haut
still
en face de ma
right
cam.
stood
Et moi,
gently
des fois,
against the French
genre
people.
mon
And
truc il est
it's
en bas et genre
really,
j'ai peur
really
que les Astaroths
fun
montent mon
and
pantalon et
also,
tout.
I have to mention the first game as a
Wanna
GSI
pas,
champion
wanna
was
pas,
wild. We
nanana.
had Mascarino
Moi je vais jouer un
second,
peu avant
we
LOL
claimed the island, and then Queasy won.
sur
So
ma
it's
net.
been just amazing to watch as a fan and supporter and Fortnite lover.
Yeah, awesome. I love the fact that you kind of bring up who's been doing well lately. Of course, this is the upper bracket. We have 25 teams going directly into the finals after today. Give us a couple names that you think are going to be to the top of that leaderboard after the end of the day.
We still have a few games left, so I have a feeling almost everyone kind of still has a chance.
On va rendre la site à bon en vrai.
Rage
C'est
are
bien, mais
I
quand on
hope
en
they
aura
still
beaucoup,
like
ça
what's going
montera
on.
tout
I didn't
seul.
want to jinx them.
Et
And
franchement,
I don't know, so many teams are
moi je vois une
confusing with
cap.
Golden
Moi franchement,
Acorn
je
and
vois un mec
Falcon
qui fait des
Beacon.
lives et je vais pas m'abonner alors qu'il a site à bon.
Sandy and Kami, they're making a little
Et
comeback.
en vrai,
So
la
it's
fenêtre, genre.
super exciting to see who's gonna make it in the end. But all of them are amazing and super talented at this
Ah,
game.
non, 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 attends.
Yeah, awesome.
Tu
And for
descends ta
anyone
cam, mais
watching
genre
along,
depuis ton
checking out your
écran.
content
Pas
members, let them
machin
know that we
visuellement.
found you.
Reddish on Twitch, or I'm Reddish on Twitter.
There it is. Thank you guys so much for
Et
tuning in.
si
Thank
tu
you,
peux.
Reddish,
Thank you.
for the insight, and we're going to toss it
Non,
back
pas
to the
comme ça.
desk with Zeke and the crew. Thank you so much.
Enfin,
Well,
moi je vois en
fantastic
décalé.
as
Ouais, voilà. En
always.
fait,
Now,
faut que tu
as we
baisses ta
kind
cam
of
comme
draw
ça.
closer to the
Ouais, là
time
c'est
to get
bien.
started, we kind of wanted to highlight a couple things. Really
Ouais.
quickly, Minimiter, you kind of called this out
Et
for
si
us
tu peux,
earlier in
c'est
our chat.
agrandir.
Zagu and Falcon,
Comment ça
they had a
s'appelle? La
very
fenêtre en haut.
interesting storm surge strategy.
Agrandir la fenêtre en haut
Yeah, they did.
et
And
genre la
it's
mettre
interesting
plus
how
dans
it
le coin.
reflects what LAN events
La
and
fenêtre du live.
global events are all about. We never know what these other smaller regions could be pulling out of the hat when it comes to strategy. And what I saw there in that end game was actually, or that mid game actually, I should say, Zago and Pepper actually got a knock. They were able to carry the body towards some of the
Voilà,
slurps
c'est
and
très bien là.
keep
Le live il est
pushing the
beau là.
player on those slurp
C'est
moves
bien,
and
bon, je
push
suis
it
fier de
shots.
toi.
That benefits
Fier
them
de
as they
toi.
can keep tagging up the player to get some more storm surge damage. We see storm surge have such a big impact so far in these first two games, and if you don't have enough damage, it's going to result in your elimination. That's what I really like to see from this. Those guys pulling out strategies I haven't seen before. Just keeping on the edge of the player. I love it.
Leave it to Peppo and Zago to do that. And
Faudra que tu règles ta qualité aussi sur OBS. Parce que moi je mets tout le temps 1080p, mais genre c'est une qualité Minecraft un peu bizarre. Et ça le fait un petit peu sur le live en. T'as trop de la chance là, enfin, c'est-
being able to not just heal, but also rotate quickly, which is part of the reason why we saw them be able to set themselves up for success. Of course, I say that as Queasy goes
Moi je
down,
joue en train
but
de.
still,
Et
being
je
able
t'ai
to
dit ou pas, j'ai
keep
perdu
the
100
lead
trophées.
there is going to get them as much needed points.
Yeah, trying to get better to clutch twice in a row. It's a bit harsh, isn't it? Do it again, surely. But no, I like to see that.
Wait until
from
Sunday.
Yeah, wait, he's waiting. He's keeping it all in the tank. He brought it out in game one. But no, not a bad game at all from this duo. We saw them trying to set up for what we're expected to see from them. Let's see if they can continue.
See game number 3. So let's kick it on over to our caster. Takes it.
Thanks so much, Zeke, and that's right. Game number 3.
Attends, oh c'est trop stylé comment t'as mis. Quand tu fais. Et ça c'est quand tu fais une pause.
Some pretty interesting things so far throughout the first two games, and hold that thought till the game, because the battle bus is good to go. Match number 3, right here.
Oh non, comment j'ai oublié, j'avais un ancien partie qui en a mode.
We heard you make some noise. It sounds like you are
Ah ouais,
ready
du coup ça m'a fait
for game
pisser.
number 3. I am too. Remember, there are only 5 rounds of Fortnite here today. So
Eh,
this
mon
one,
micro il est
make sure you
dégueulasse.
solidify the halfway mark. To start things off though, we have to begin here.
Enfin, mon micro il est dégueulasse.
See this go either way. We know that Kylix is nearby as well. Kyrie here. So you gotta be careful. First, looking for
Ouais.
great job.
Pourquoi ma manette elle marche pas? Excusez-moi. Excusez-moi. Est-ce que c'est bon pour vous? Wesh. C'est bon. One up, one up. Ouais, je l'ai 37. Faudrait que tu regardes dans tes paramètres pour améliorer la qualité, si tes paramètres. J'ai l'impression que tu joues à Minecraft et genre en live ça lui fait la même qualité. Ah ouais, c'est vrai. Wesh, wesh, wesh. Non, il m'a tué ce bâtard. Eh, je veux être pro, c'est bon. J'ai quitté la partie. C'est bon, j'en ai marre. Ça m'énerve déjà. Ah non, je lance une partie. Est-ce que tu trouves que c'est mieux quand je parle avec mon micro ou du micro comme ça? J'aimerais tellement pouvoir installer Steam et OBS sur mon PC. En gros, sur mon PC, je pourrais installer des applications, je pourrais jouer à Fortnite, je pourrais faire des lives, je pourrais jouer à un download de PC. Allez, faut que je fasse un kill. C'est 930 dégâts, c'est vraiment super. On en parle, on en parle. Follow, 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 follow. Ouais, je l'ai passé juste au-dessus de mon cône, il m'a même pas vu. Ah, ça fait personne. Toi, je vais devoir jouer avec des souris, hein. Ça, c'est dur, man. Bah non, je l'ai mis en public. Ouais, absolument, je vais smash. Non! Non, il m'a tué! Oh, s'il fait le kill, j'y allais, vraiment. En fait, c'est dur un malheur parce qu'il n'y a pas autant de paramètres que Fortnite. J'ai l'impression qu'il n'y a pas de paramètres pour la sensibilité tirée. Et ça, c'est super chiant. Voilà, voilà. I can! I'm loved in. Oh, mais il en a autoclic! J'ai pas vu. Non, mais c'est bon, il y en a marre des gens comme ça. En fait, genre, quand tu vas tirer, genre, ça va faire papa. Genre, même avec un snipe, ça va être papa. Bah, sur un Valorant, il y en a plus. En fait, un Valorant, c'est pas aussi sécurisé. Il y a plein qu'on hack et tout. Par exemple, sur 5 games, tu vas comber contre 3 cheaters. Il y en a un par toutes les games pratiquement. Ouais, je crois qu'il y a un youtubeur dans ma game. Pourquoi c'est l'archi, c'est vrai. Voilà. Oh non, il y a un mec qui a un autoclic qui va faire une petite main dans les airs. Faut que je me cache pour essayer d'être dans les derniers pour pas faire de... Oh, il y a un cheater. Vraiment, je me casse. Oh, il m'a tué. Oh, j'espère que mon pote qui va pas mourir. Plus 3. Oh non, j'ai fait une question. Encore pas facile. Ouais, c'est grave. Ah, j'étais en train de dire, tu remets pas la cam. Oh, mais t'es avec des bugs, wesh. Pourquoi tu fais? Oh, par contre, là, c'est pixelisé de fou, là. Sur le live. Non, je suis en qualité 1080. Et c'est ton live qui est comme ça. Ouais, regarde sur OBS ou sur Fortnite, tu verras comment c'est pixelisé. C'est rien. Ouais, c'était Minecraft le truc. Attends, je fais un... Allemand, tu peux parler pour voir.
Thank you, Mo. So like you see, we obviously saw Gamer had a lot to say about his ability, but he weren't too good. And Kingston is still not as good as they say. These two teams have been going head to head, not full engagements, but
Allemand, tu vas dire une phrase, ok?
where possible. We see them sort of pinching and peeking towards each other at times. And what's happening is that they're both disengaging, right? Neither team currently sit in that top 25. So one of these two teams is going to have to step it up. If either of them are going to be
C'est ce que je pensais, Alban, t'as pas activé ton micro sur le live, on t'entend pas. Je me disais que c'est bizarre. J'entends ma voix, mais j'entends pas le tien. Non, il est pas.
Drop spot engagement, but again, with teams just actively choosing to disengage, have to believe that part of that reason is because they don't want to risk being early eliminated in match 3. Acorn cold though. They've got some eliminations on the mind because they want Pink and Vico if they can find it.
Bah regarde, ça se trouve pas si tu as mis la vidéo. Non, je t'entends pas. Je t'entends pas.
An Acorn cold. Slight lull in the action. They
On t'entend pas.
try to make sure that their approach is as methodical as possible here at Frenzy Fields.
And of this duo here, the highlight player was definitely Acorn in match number 2, where he really went the distance in the end when it mattered, but I'm sure if he can do it one more time, it should be all but solidified inside that top 25. This has been a great showing so far, and again, contested. Half the loot he would expect, half of what he would really want, so to take out Pick and Vico,
C'est bizarre quand même de voir que... Bon.
to not see them on Sunday would be excellent.
Mais même là, on dirait que c'est le baiser de la SNCF.
But what's interesting is that at Frenzy, keep in mind, Calgamer and Sevenman were there as well, but they weren't when we last checked in just now. So have to imagine that Calgamer, Sevenman recognizing, hey, this just isn't the type of engagement you want to take right now. Just like iDrop has a solo, trying to see if
Allô, allô?
anything.
Allô?
Rift Island. If he's able to get this capture point uncontested as a solo, that will be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and you know, it's worth 15 points, so
Ah, c'est bon.
Allô, allô? Ah putain, désolé les refs. Oh, je suis
bon.
trop con. Les refs. Oh, je suis trop con. J'ai complètement oublié d'activer mon micro. Du coup, vous entendez Nolan ou pas moi? Bon, désolé les frérots. Hein. Désolé.
Ah bah enfin. C'est bon pour le micro.
Putain, pète les couilles. Ok, allez, let's go. Bon, par contre, le problème là, c'est que j'ai pas d'armes.
Y'a pas de panneau.
Y'a pas
C'est ça le
d'armes.
problème.
Attends, tu m'as pas qu'il y a.
Le destination parce que là, je pense que
Non,
ça c'est...
Ça doit être là, là et là.
Voilà, voilà. Voilà, voilà. Il parle pour voir.
Ouais, non, mais c'est normal.
Quand t'as des peu. Ah
C'est
non.
bon, ça que Oh, le bâtard.
Là, c'est dur à trouver les sensibles malais. Bon, moi, j'ai
Ouais,
vraiment
faut,
du mal.
je sais pas, c'est une fancy. Tu dois trouver ta fancy.
Je dois trouver ma voix.
Ah non, mais c'est un peu ça, ouais.
Voilà, voilà. Oh, c'est abusé, j'ai 30 FPS sur mon PC maintenant. Il y a de la fibre. Hein. Hier, il me fallait 10 minutes pour allumer une page Google. Avec ma mère, on n'arrivait pas à commander un truc. Et genre, quand je envoyé un code sur son portable, bah, le code il expirait tellement ça prenait du temps. Je me suis acheté un câble pour mon appareil photo pour la webcam.
Ah merde. Oh ouais, moi je vais essayer. Mon père il a un truc de photo. Je vais essayer pour voir si c'est possible. Salam. attends, bonbon. Il a viré
Non.
tous ses employés
Moins 10. J'en ai marre, c'est de la merde. Et lui, mais le mec, il croit vraiment que je vais relancer avec lui. Espèce de bon là. J'avais même pas sorti. Et ma manette, ça, je sais pas la connecter en tous là. Mais manette, non, pas mille.
Vas-y. Y'a pas de parano. Wesh. Allez.
J'ai activé un mode dans le Windows, ça met performant pour le jeu que j'avais. Et genre, ça performe le jeu après.
Ah ouais? C'est où?
C'était dans les paramètres, ça active automatiquement. Tu vas dans
Wesh, tu bugs,
paramètres.
tu bugs, frérot, tu bugs. C'est horrible, c'est horrible.
Comment ça, je bug?
Tu bugs à mort, on t'entend comme ça.
Attends, c'est vrai?
Ah non, non, c'est vraiment vrai. Ouais.
Oh non! Pourquoi j'ai pété mon PC là?
Wesh. Mais vraiment, tu rebugs là encore. Ouais.
Mais moi, je sais pas
Ouais,
ça
j'arrête,
fait comme ça.
Non, vraiment, tu bugs à mort.
Non. Ça... Oh non. Allô?
Aïe, aïe. Ouais, ouais, ça va. Ça va là, mais...
Mais j'ai pété. J'ai posé mon ordinateur sur ma table et genre l'écran il s'est aplati à fond. Du coup, ça pétait des câbles.
Y'a moyen.
Démarre mon PC. Je redémarre mon PC. Oui.
Ok, vas-y.
J'ai mis-
Ok les refs, désolé encore pour le truc hein, parce que... Comment ça j'ai 25 kills? Ah bah... Ok d'accord, j'ai 25 kills. Là encore je demande... Tac. Attendez, après les deux fights que j'ai engagés là, parce que... Les deux fights que j'ai engagés, bah après je vais mettre la cam pour que vous voyez. Bon, attendez. Je vais aller là-bas au fight. Je fais juste un truc. Après j'arrive. Oh ta mère! Aïe aïe aïe! Ok. Je vais aller tuer l'autre gars là. Et après je vais tenter un truc. Ok, tac. Tac, tac. Tac. Alors, du coup, je vous mets là. Attendez, je vais vous mettre là. Putain. Copier. Je mets comme ça. Comme ça. Non, faut que je fasse un truc comme ça là. Sauf que c'est au milieu. Merde. Tac. Je vais le mettre comme ça, tac.
maybe he did and might be interested in trying to pursue it.
He's thinking about it.
Kyrie hoping he
Comme
can
ça,
in time, but it's
et
gonna
là,
be too
tac.
much for pace and interruption on that revive.
Comme
Now it's Jason and Mustache seeing if they can finish what somebody else had started. They managed to get the material refresh, the item refresh as well if they wanted. There for the taking, Mason will swap out for that.
Bon, on va en mettre un... Bon, il y a un gars qui est passé juste là.
Bargain pre-established here and free for them.
Yeah, it's all in all a net positive. You get the damage that you need. You start inching your way towards the end. Looks like there's gonna be a slightly short
Et je
finish
prends
here.
ça.
Just outside the mountain there, Vino's already marked up the position they want to be in. It's that natural high ground.
Tout ça. Et là maintenant, je vais aller descendre. C'est trop bon. Mort. Ne vous inquiétez pas. Pour ça. Yo.
That's what I do best. Limited builds to just get there, connects it to a structure in the distance, but Nami and Seti are looking backwards. They're saying no. Not today, not in this lobby. I want to fight for it as well. We need a big game here. We need it now. And all of a sudden now they are the most resistant on the front side.
Ok, c'est bon, le ref. Tac, bon, là, il est parfait. C'est parfait, vraiment. Bon, je reconnais un peu mon fight. Je vais aller me fight là. Oh, wow, wow. Eh, t'as pas de couilles ou quoi? Merde. Ah non, c'est parce que t'avais pas. Ah, j'allais dire que t'avais pas d'armes, mais si. Salut, frère. Wesh. Oh, ça se fight vénère là-bas. Ah merde. Ah merde. Viens là. Ouais. C'est quoi ça? Wesh, wesh. Elle met mal. My for Christmas, Maléoné. Non, je vais garder ça fait. Ok, c'est quoi ça? GPM. À place de... c'est pas bien. Ah, il est battu. Ouais, Charlie. Oh. Ok, tac. Attendez 2 secondes. Ce qui m'appelle, tac, tac. Ouais, allô?
Oh, allô?
Ouais.
Oh, t'imagines même pas quelle mise à jour j'avais à faire.
Ça
On
va,
avait
tu
4
pas...
de nettoyage. Ça va le micro?
Ouais, ouais. Je sais pas, tu buguais tout à l'heure. Moi, je vais aller tout là-bas, frérot, parce qu'ils sont 9.
T'as regardé le live que ça rend?
Ouais, et regarde. Regarde le live et je te montre après, attends. Regarde, tu vois, regarde le live. Et là, maintenant, regarde. Quand je mets Twitch, au moins, on voit un peu mon écran et on voit le truc.
Et là, t'es sur Twitch?
Là, non, là, je suis sur YouTube pour le live.
Ah ouais, c'est bien claqué là, le truc. On va à moitié ton écran et tout.
Ça, là?
Ouais, c'est tout écrasé. Mieux mettre avec le fond et tout quand tu fais une pause. Non, remets l'écran carré avec la cam et tout.
Ok, bah attends. Attends 2 secondes.
En vrai, c'était bien l'écran carré.
Ouais.
Oh, ta mère! J'ai supprimé le fond. Bon,
Quoi? Non.
Attends. Bah attends un peu, ok. Attends un peu, pour l'instant, après cette game, je vais voir. Même pas après cette game, je suis pas sûre. Allez! Non, j'étais à ça! Là. Allez. Là, il y a une feuille et moi, je vais directement sur ça.
Mais en fait, c'est un peu utilisé, ça doit être...
Ouais.
Tu me montreras comment installer OBS.
T'inquiète pas, je te montrerai. Oh, je suis mort. Tac.
That game was a roller coaster, and for multiple reasons, really. And you know, when we tune into the global championships, the one thing that obviously everybody is excited about is the clash of playstyles, the best at what they do. And throughout this game, you know, we saw a couple of height changes between, you know, arguably the best height team in the world, Queasy and Venom. Then I was like, oh, look at this, Acorn and Cold. They're on the low ground. That's exactly where they thrive. And then, yeah, they ended up on the high ground.
Ok, c'est bon. Putain, j'ai plus de stuff. Regarde, c'est bon là, normalement. Comme ça, c'est bon. Je prends ça pour un oui. Bon. Wesh. Ils sont deux. Oh, let's go, merci. Hop là. Maman, je suis en live. Non, je te dis juste. Ok, vas-y. Je vais regarder le truc là pendant 30 minutes. Live machin là, je fais ça. Purée. On va regarder comme ça.
They're going to be looking above them thinking, okay, you know, these guys are setting the tempo, but we're going to do our thing up on high while they do their thing down below. It's been weird for Queasy and Venom especially, right, because we're seeing them so consistently going into these endgames in position to play out high very, very well, right? You know, it's typical stuff for them. But they're having a couple problems, right, where a bunch of their other EU compatriots are very much making things difficult for them, right? Seti and Canny.
C'est pas grave si je lance en privé la map là. Tac.
and in such good fashion. I mean, you mentioned it. You see that. You're aware of their flank.
Je vais la regarder.
Pull this off.
And it's not just playing it off right when they actually in the position, deliver it, being able then to actually hit the shots. Of course, they did get chopped out on high. Eventually, right, it was Aikman and Cole that did that so well. But I think the big thing with Canyon State is obviously we saw how they started the day, and I think it's fair to say they brushed the dust off their shoulders. Yeah. Right? They didn't allow losing off spawn early on to sort of derail their competition. They understood, hey, look, we just got to stick to the fundamentals, get back in the game. We can beat these guys off spawn, and now they are delivering in the game.
And one more point here about Canyon City. We talked about the all spawn situation with Aikman and Cole. Anyway, how similar for Canyon City, right? They're pretty chilling when it comes to the points.
Ça, faut que je fasse ça pendant 30 minutes, frérot.
Their day started with basically no points on the board, right? And their counterparts, Dino, Weezy, getting the victory out. And now they're sitting there attacking them on high
Il y
ground.
avait bien Nolan ou quoi?
We all came here to see, at least I did.
Ah merde, putain, j'ai coupé mon micro.
Yes, bring me points. That's what we want today. You talk
Ah, t'es là. Faut que 30 minutes, je reste dans la map. Faut que je reste 30 minutes pendant la map.
Ouais, et après tu cliques sur réclamer le machin.
Bah moi après je vais aller manger hein. Je pense que je vais manger.
Tu vas manger là?
Non pas maintenant, je sais pas. Attends, je vais aller voir. Je vais aller voir.
Ah non, 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 non.
Ah lolo.
Ouais.
Hop. Il faut que je regarde ça pendant 30 minutes. Oh, j'ai 0 de ping. La map elle est 0 délai. 0 de ping.
Moi, je suis tiens. Et tu m'as entendu tout à l'heure quand je t'ai dit de monter le son du live?
T'as dit quoi?
Que tu montes le son du live là de ce niveau.
Ah, de ça là? Ah non.
Ouais.
A lot of the times not building, but they find those timings, and that's why they're so good.
And big props once again to
c'est bien,
Aikman, right?
quoi.
This is a player who you see how
Attends, il y a le
he's
décalage.
talking about him as an IGL, saying this guy's brain is unmatched. He's easy, the
Ouais.
best player, whatnot. Earlier this year, right, when they didn't do as well during Major 2, there were doubts within their relationship,
Yeah.
right? It was, conversations about them potentially splitting up, and I had the chance to speak to Aikman about it, and he said, look, hands up, that Major was my fault. I was not up to
T'as bugué mon micro.
standard, but I'm gonna fix that.
Okay.
And I think it's safe to say he's fixed it, right? You see the way they're playing right now, and things are clearly in a much better place. They're clearly much more confident in each other, and that's always the key, right? You have to be able to trust your teammates if you're gonna have success in a competition like this.
That is why me and Vivid are
Dans
good
10
at
minutes,
Fortnite
là,
when we
moi,
play Zero Build. Because I trust Vivid completely. Now let's kind of focus in on here. We like to kind of discuss Storm Surge strategies. Obviously, y'all at home, I know I could use some help, but something that we kind of saw it.
something we saw in game was actually Reet and Ritual. They have a very interesting Storm Surge strategy.
Yeah, placing very, very high up on the leaderboard right now, and it's not even necessarily about the Storm Surge strategy. It's about using their drop spot to their advantage. They're going to be dropping towards Creaky Compound, which is pretty central of the map. And if we think about any of the Fortnite zones, right, usually most of them will involve the center of the map in some capacity in those early zones. And the cool thing about Creaky Compound, look at all of these hills that Ritual and Reet can take advantage of. The fact that they're landing there means that they get early priority to a lot of those positions. And every single game, they're going to make sure that they base up on those high ground positions to make sure that any of the players rotating to the center of the map, which by the way, a lot of players like to rotate to the center of the map, and make sure they can get all the tags necessary for their Storm Surge.
J'essaie d'avoir une best pour Noël. Imagine j'ai une best
Typically look at discussions around Storm Surge and the ability for people to be
Pas qu'on
effective in
repart.
tags. You often go, the controller players, it's a lot harder, right? Long distance, that aim assist.
Bah, à mon avis, ça arrivera pas parce que déjà, tu leur demandes une manette. Et jamais elle dit non. Moi, quand je demande un truc à ma mère, elle me dit je veux pas un truc d'électronique. Alors, imagine, il y a mon tonton, il m'en paye une. Peut-être ça, il est un peu riche, par contre.
Good shout.
C'est vraiment pas raté.
Absolutely. You guys are killing it. You guys are great. I love y'all. All right, actually, why don't we go ahead and check out the Creator Lounge? Kelly Link is standing by with a very special creator. Who are you with, Kelly?
Thank you so much, Zeke. And I am here with someone very special. It is Keep Up Radio. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Gosh, thank you for having me.
Okay, so we're 3 games down, 2 to go. What has been your experience so far?
Oh my gosh, I've been having
Very
the best
special
time. I
day.
think just coming to IRL events and seeing the players play and the crowd get so excited and crazy. It's the best experience for sure.
And what has it been like interacting with all the creators here in the Creator Lounge?
It's been so fun. Shout out to Reddit, shout out to Peach, my people. I love getting to see the people that I interact with online IRL as well. It's really fun.
Well, if we're going to talk about your people, then we're going to talk about your favorite team as well. Who is it?
Okay, so I came in not really knowing who I wanted to root for, but Cold and Acorn have like stolen my heart. I'm rooting for them. Let's go.
Well, then you must feel really good. Just them walking away in Game 3 with that victory royale.
I know, it was so exciting. I was like getting a touch right before and I'm trying to look over like, oh my gosh, they finally won, so exciting. So I'm excited to see what they do for the rest of the games.
And I'm so excited to hear about what you do with all this Fortnite music. What is the process for creating these incredible songs?
Yeah, it's so fun. I really just try to take pop culture and music and like kind of take the elements of songs that we know and love and like apply it to Fortnite, and I feel like the people really relate to it, which is so fun and so awesome.
Do you have any songs in the works right now?
Oh my gosh, none that I want to talk about yet.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, but shout out
Ah,
if
tu
you know
m'entends
Tilted Tower
bien?
Dance, go
Wow.
Tilted, go Tilted. That has
Elle
100,000
me
streams
dit en
on
fait.
Spotify, and it's a Fortnite song, and I'm so proud of that.
Hello.
So, really cool.
Keep up radio.
Ah,
Thank you
c'est
so much for joining me
bien.
here. Where can people find you online?
You can find me on as Keep Up Radio everywhere. And can I just say one more
Il
thing?
faut que j'arrive pas les, il faut que j'arrive pas les 30
Oh
sur,
my God, thank you again
sur
so
Ralol et
much.
je
And
sais pas
guys,
ce
back
combat.
to you.
Enfin là je peux
Yes.
l'acheter mais je préfère être déjà au dernier cadeau. Comme ça je vais lancer multi. J'ai calculé maintenant à toutes les saisons par rapport.
Again, it's just so cool. We've been doing FNCS for a year now, coming together, bringing everybody into one big pool, just being like, what's up, Fortnite fam? It's great to see all of
Mais
you
quoi là?
from different walks of life, from different aspects of the game, all in a single place.
C'est quoi l'album?
How have you guys enjoyed the competition
Bah là, je
so far?
regarde parce que pendant 30
you know, I think
minutes,
the
je dois
competition
regarder
is
ça pour
delivering
avoir les
completely for me,
récompenses.
right? The atmosphere has been absolutely amazing. The crowd
Ah
has
mais
gone
tu le mets juste sur le
absolutely
deuxième
wild,
écran et
especially
tu
when
regardes
Thomas
Fortnite,
HD
tu vois
is
si
on
tu
the
joues à
screen.
Fortnite.
I know the M8 audience up there every single time
Mais non,
they're
faut
on
que
the
tu
screen.
Moi
regardes
je
avec
fais
ça.
comme ça.
Faut que je regarde sur ça là.
Atmosphere's been unbelievable. And
Sur
today,
l'écran
couple of
Fortnite. Regarde.
days of this,
Non,
right?
regarde.
We got Saturday, we got
Faut que tu
Sunday.
regardes
It's gonna
comme ça là.
get even more loud inside of here, which I'm very much excited about. But you know, even in the server, right?
Attends, mets un
the
partage
game
écran sur
players
Discord.
are delivering, man. I think
Parce
when
que
you
tu
regarde,
parles.
have
gros.
a competition like this where you have the stakes set so high, you
Regarde.
know, we're expecting the big
Ça.
names to come out, but they're actually giving us performances, you know, that match up to the status
Quoi
they have.
ça? Ton partage d'écran tu l'as pas mis?
Non, mais je l'ai pas mis, mais-
So I think,
Mais regarde le live, je sais pas, peut-être.
Ah.
to deliver in that regard.
C'est bon.
So the leaderboard was a little bit
Ça,
too
là.
Ah ouais.
for my liking. So hopefully some more of the EU teams
Ouais,
can
Mais tu peux regarder depuis Google. T'as
Oui,
juste
mais
à
je sais pas,
appliquer
ça marche
sur.
pas, ça marche pas.
Will be the grand finals to see my EU boys up there.
Yeah, no bias, no bias.
They came together for Major 2 and qualified for Globals back then by coming second.
Ça
They
m'emmène
had to
sur
top
mon
it,
match.
currently in 24th
Est-ce que
position
t'as
on the
tapé un fond
leaderboard.
noir avec un
Non,
truc
mais s'en bat
bleu
les
sur
couilles,
le côté?
frérot. Moi, de toute façon, je regarde sur ça, c'est
I think
bon.
we should be doing a lot better in terms of on the leaderboard. But
Regarde
for my
sur
first
ça,
land, I can't
c'est
complain. You know, I'm having a good time, and I hope we do better.
So how come you've become this fresh-faced IGL that
Et
everyone is
pourquoi tu
saying
traînes
such
avec
great
Maël
things
et
about,
tout
given that
là-bas?
this is your first LAN?
Je traîne pas avec Maël et tout.
Starting in
Je sais
IGL
pas
C'est
comme
juste
si
avec
je t'avais
Maël.
vu.
but I think playing with Mero also, with
Par contre,
being a
Maël,
great
il
teammate, I
pense que c'est
think
pas.
I've improved drastically, and I hope I do better. Yeah, hope I do
Il
good.
il
Why
te
did
c'est
you
quoi?
want to become an
Il
IGL?
super fort dans la cour. Nul à nul à fort.
Being a fragger, I feel like I never got a good IGL, and I wanted to
Ah,
kind
mais
of
c'est un
take
gros
terms
secteur,
of
frérot, Maël.
being the leader in a duo.
Non,
Je
and
sais
I
pas
wanted
ce
to
qu'il
be
a.
like the best fragger, so.
Wesh.
Well, I should talk to that best fragger now.
Je sais pas ce qu'il a fait en perm. Il prend en perm, il faisait que de parler, il faisait que de rigoler. Coralie, elle disait de lui.
Your first rodeo. Why did you want to compete here with Cooper?
POV.
I think he's a good teammate. He's always grinding the game. You know, that's really about it. Honestly, it's just fun to play with, good teammate. And I don't know, we kind of have like a
Dis-toi
lot
que
in
bientôt,
terms of like interests and stuff, so he's like easy to talk to.
dis-toi qu'à
He's
devant,
good
avant,
music and all
c'était en
that.
20
It's
lots,
really
j'étais à
easy.
1660 le matin. Et là, je suis bientôt à 1400. Tellement
Ski
descend.
by Sexy Red.
I do not know the song, but that is
Je
because
perds
I'm not
trop.
as cool
Et
as you
j'arrive
two
pas à
are.
remonter.
So, what's the strategy now? How are you going to regroup to try and guarantee that spot in Sunday's grand final today?
Voilà,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to get DQ'd, but I feel like I really haven't had a fair chance of playing Fortnite yet, and I think that we just need a little bit more luck on our side, and we're going to be fine.
Okay, well, hopefully the luck will be on your side. Thank you so much for talking to me, gentlemen. I'll let you go and get some food, and I am going to bring in a Londoner. In fact, only Londoner on land, so therefore I'm slightly biased because I'm from London too, if you hadn't noticed by the accent. Pink, currently 29th on the leaderboard. How are you finding things in Copenhagen so far?
I'm finding it good, despite our placement. I think we're not playing the best, but I'm finding it good, yeah.
Why do you think you're not playing the best yet?
Game 1 we played well. Game 2, there was a minor error making the whole game go to waste. But then Game 3, obviously, contested by Acorn. He was already qualified in 2 games, so he dedicated Game 3 to grief us. So I think he'll continue to do that for Game 4 and Game 5, but that's what happened so far.
Are you thinking you can grief back then? How are you going to respond to this? Because you're not the kind of guy who's going to back down in a fight.
I mean, at this point they're qualified, so no matter what we do, they're through to the next round anyways. So it's more so a thing where got to let go of the grudge and just focus on ourselves for now.
So they're not in your head.
No, not at all.
And how are you finding things with Vico? Because you're a relatively new duo, you came together for Major number 3 and you pulled off what you needed to do to make it to Globals. But this was a surprising duo in some ways. So why do you think it's managed to come together so quickly?
I've been very tough with Vico, and he's like, at the start he was a bit annoying, I'd say, but more so now he's more so making me proud. So I think we're a good duo. We complement each other well, and I like playing with him.
He's a really aggressive player. How did you manage to stop him pressing W in every situation?
I had to fake drop him, I've had to scream a lot, I've had to do a lot of things. I've kind of mentored him in a way, but yeah.
Pink, I'm looking for a coach, so I don't know if we can, once you're done with Globals, you've got the spare time in your hands, are you taking new clients on?
No.
Well, it's a great excuse, darn it. But I'm fine with it. I'll just go solo. Thank you so much for talking to me, Pink, and we will see you out on Battle Bus. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much for those interviews for the players. Pink is always one that's very honest, Levin. He's going to tell you what's on his mind, and there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think.
Yeah, honestly, it's the best policy. You know, I wouldn't have it any other way. You want people to lie to you? Would I ever lie to you? That's not the way. I never lied. I never lied to you. Look, the one thing I'd say about Pink, right, and Vico is they're in a very tough spot. Because, like you just said, Acorn and Cold, they're basically qualified now, right? They can, you know, not play the rest of the games, and they'll be good to move through to the finals. These guys aren't. Right? And so if you're Acorn and Cold and these guys are contesting you, you're going to make their life as difficult as possible. You're going to make sure you can do whatever it takes to guarantee they don't contest you come grand final time. So if I was Pink and Vico, I'd be not worried per se, because, you know, this is not a guy that's ever going to be worried, but I would start to be a bit concerned.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely bring up some very valid points, but I think if anything has been proven by some of these performances so far, one good game, right? One victory route with a couple eliminations is worth enough points, 100%, to fly up that leaderboard. So they just got to win that spawn fight one more time.
Do you think they do that, though? Is that the play, trying to kind of keep rolling the dice? Is it just let's find somewhere else, or let's just disengage? What do you guys think?
So it's interesting, right? Because Pink is a player that's very experienced when it comes to being contested. right? You look back all the way to Chapter 3, Season 2, I believe it was contested by Mustache and Malabuko, and they were playing together, and they, you know, were unbelievable, right? And I remember Pink saying to me, I've never experienced that off Spawn, right? And they got demolished back then when he was playing with Anas, but he learned a lesson, right? He learned what it takes to be a good off Spawn team, and he said to me he had a lot of those sort of similar strategies coming in to try and use against Acorn and Cold, and so maybe now we start to see him start to whip out some of the things he maybe would have wanted to save for grand finals, but use them now to secure a spot for final.
Good stuff. They are sitting there on the bubble, 29th place. Remember, top 25 will be the ones to move on to Sunday's finals. Now, if you find themselves at the bottom 25, they still have tomorrow. Obviously, not the best situation to find themselves in. You know, Vivid right now, Levin makes a great point. If they're kind of pulling out some of these strategies, they might have to. Yes, it very well could get them to Sunday, but if it doesn't, that means that they're going to go into tomorrow's lower bracket, and those 25 players will have watched this. They will have known, okay, well, this is what they're looking to do.
Yeah, I mean, very interesting situation. I don't think anybody wants to be in the situation that they are in right now. But listen, we're at the global championships, right? These teams are here for a reason. If 2 games is what it takes for them to actually go through the finals, I guarantee you that they are very, very well capable of it.
Yeah, 100%, right? Again, it is just a matter of doing what they were able to do in that first game, right? He said it himself, that first game, if it was good, they were in that game. They looked good. They looked like a team that was going to continue throughout the day to have pop-offs, but unfortunately it hasn't panned out that way, right? Have to get back to what that was in game 1, and I think it's very possible for this team.
Yeah, so what you kind of just touched on, you guys are just hitting me with the razzle-dazzle right now.
That's what we do.
That's what you do. You know, this is the global championships. Okay, we're looking for the best duo in the world. There cannot be any question. There has to be a duo that steps up and says, we are definitively better than everybody else. So I feel like at this point in time, we can be a bit more critical about some of these things, right? And we kind of have to be, you know? We can't just say, well, this is a major, you know, you've got weeks 2, week 3, you know, you'll go to, we'll see you in grands, it's fine. No, this is the end of the line.
You know what? You know what? Levin said it. Honesty is the best policy, right? So I'm going to talk about one of the favorites here, right? We took a look at a little bit of the bubble right there, and I saw 23rd place, Thomas, HD, and Malabuka. That is not a very comfortable spot to be.
Not at all. Not at all. And then obviously, you know, when you are the favorite, there's pressure that comes with that. You've got this crowd here that's making all this noise for you. If you are Thomas HD and Malabuka, you have to start thinking about, okay, how do we get back into this, right? I think a lot of them, people saw them as a favorite coming into this competition because they are so good. But things haven't been easy, right? The Canada versus an Ages of Spawn battle hasn't been the simplest of equations for them to solve. And even, you know, beyond that, right? Actually, when they are getting to play out games, the formula, it's not quite clicking, it's not quite working.
That's right. Well, I'm getting word. As much as I'd love to continue this conversation, games are ready to go. So let's kick it up to the casters to get us prepped.
We are here. This is game 4 about to get underway. And I want to give a huge shout out to Kit. But let's go ahead and go to the battle bus because the game starts now.
Non, comme deux. Oh, c'est mieux de jouer clavier par contre. Elle vend les 3 sur live en vrai, c'est bien.
And we're looking at a team that definitely needs
T'as vu comment on est sur live?
matchup for things to start picking up for them. Podesai, Snazy, starting to get some shots from the sky, but here at the racetrack, we've watched this for 3 games now. 2-1 in favor of Thomas and Malabuka. Kanata trying to see what he can do. It's a double fire, but Thomas, for the time being, he's gonna go down. Kanata and Agers looking like they could be in a decent position here, but it's Malabuka on the wraparound of the reboot ban, trying to make sure that he can keep Thomas and his own hopes alive for this game number 4. Agers, Kanata so incredibly low, but Malabuka down to half HP. Now jumping on top of the building in the reboot ban, just barely keeping the hope alive for Kanata and Agers.
Oh, this is gonna be a big save. His chance to get his HP back, and a down onto Kanata. He has no ammo left. This could be huge if Agers could just find a way to just push up, finish this off, but it's Malabuka who does it yet again.
One of the few times where a tactical DMR is going to look like the saving grace here. for Malabuka. Thomas as well.
Oh non, mais il y a un nouveau 2 sur le live.
J'arrive.
Boy, and for good reason, because this score, it's already being telegraphed. 3-1 now in favor of Thomas and Kanata. And keep in mind, or excuse me, Thomas and Malabuka, but for Agers and Kanata, they're literally in 35th place. And that's bound to get pushed even further back now.
That's where you start to feel the nerves and you feel like you're in the danger zone. We got Cal Gamer, 7-man going up against King and Phaser Kami yet again. And this is where it's going to get heated up. He gets a little bit of a first strike, but doesn't really take advantage of it. And a quick reposition out of King and Phaser. This is exactly what you have to do. But the Riv does go off. They're trying to reposition and try to have something towards that high ground, but they're not able to do too much.
Le live, il a déjà 10 minutes.
Relentless retreat in order to stay alive.
Right idea, though. Sometimes you just know when a fight
En vrai,
isn't
t'es content ou
yours
pas?
to make happen. And for 7-man, all his ammo's running
En
relatively
vrai, c'est
low.
bien
With that
de...
disengage from Phaser,
C'est maintenant
7-man
dans
and
le live.
Galgamer now gonna have ample
Oh,
time
ça fait pas
to
longtemps
try
que ça
and
fait.
root out
Non.
relentless retreat. Slappy
Je-
Shores.
Ça fait 1 heure
Actually,
même
it's been
pas.
relatively quiet. We've seen a couple of circumstances with Tayson. Really just nice surge strategy going for the most part at this location. But for Trulix and Chicho,
Pourquoi tu vas où?
they've also had a relatively quiet time so far.
Yeah,
Ah,
for
tu reviens
them, they
après?
just got to start building up that confidence. Because even
Dans
though they
20
have the
minutes?
cushion that you could still fall into day 2, we were just
Ok,
talking about
vas-y, à
it.
tout à
That's
l'heure.
not something you even want to
Je vais
test.
gérer le live,
Anything
les
can
mecs.
happen in
Clair.
that lower bracket. That's why it's paramount for these teams to qualify today, give themselves a break, a chance to readjust. And Bugha and Threats is one of those teams that's outside of that bubble. And I think that's something nobody would have expected coming into today.
One thing that we've definitely noticed from the past 3 games that have played out so far, Threats and Bugha, they've never been a duo. They've never gotten a chance to actually participate in that late game circumstance together. So maybe here in game number 4, seems as though Threats is on a mission to write his own story. As some nice tags up along the coast side, just south of Sanguine Suites. A lot of pressure being applied to the duo a little bit south of them.
Yep, just like I was talking about with Cammy and Seti, just one big game. This could be the start that Bugha and Threats need to try to propel themselves, if not to the top of the leaderboard, at least inside of that top 25, and that'll give them that chance to readjust. P8's in, Kitos, they've been doing well so far as well, and that's something that you want to see. Even if you're qualified already, you want to keep up the pace, continue to build that confidence, because even though you might have Saturday off, you have to be prepared for Championship Sunday. $4 million on the line. That's not something to take lightly.
And again, I think it doesn't necessarily have to be flashy, but for Thomas and Malabuka,
I'm going far, I'm going far. I got spot, I'm dead, I think. 60 wide, I'm dead, they're both here. He's getting shot in the back though, he's getting shot in the back. One is running back to farm and one is planting. They're gonna get sighted for this. Farm the brick after. Toilet, here. Okay. He's alone. Nice! Get.
yeah, for Thomas and Malabuka, it's definitely looked pretty flashy. When you're going for that 50-50, when you're representing that there's a reason why this is your POI, at least that they're going to be choosing to drop at, or their established drop spot. Racetrack's almost feeling like a POI with how well they have managed to just take hold of it.
Yeah, and I'm not too surprised. It was a couple of majors ago where they were contested. And I wouldn't say it was the highest placing of a contested team ever, but it was one of the highest placings in an FNCS Grand Finals for a team while contested. So they've had that preparation throughout the year, and they're putting all that preparation here to the test. Just like Duke and Edgy, trying to pick up the pace here. They are your FNCS Grand Finals champions of the NA region as well. They already started off with 1 elimination, so you know they at least have some surge in their back pocket. But as the lobby and the games have shown throughout the day, you need more than just some surge. You need an ample amount of surge in order to survive this game.
And for Duke and Edgy, they need a lot of points as well, because you have to remember they entered game 4 in that 46th position. So quite a lot of places to jump up in the leaderboard if they want to actually find themselves in that top 25. But right now, leaderboard is the least of Frostroki's concern. Right now, it is all about surviving and maybe, if he's lucky, finding an opportunity here to look for a pickoff onto Yuumi, because Frostroki, if he's able to find this knock, or if he's able to just be patient, he might actually have a chance. So look for grabbing his teammate's reboot card if he hasn't already.
Yep.
Full disengage. It's still plenty early enough in the game where a reboot ban opportunity could definitely come up clutch.
Especially here where the zone is pulling forward. A lot of those teams are going to begin to rotate, whether they try to go to the slow side or directly straight towards the center. That is going to be one of the few safe opportunities you will have, as the augments are already beginning to come out. Possible rarity check, and a lot of these teams, you might be saving some of those augments as well, but King and FaZe or Kame, you saw them disengage out of Relentless Retreat. They're outside of the top 25, so a game like this is necessary to come out on top, grab as many points as you can, and he's already getting challenged for that high ground, instantly gives up. FaZe and him are a little bit too separated for my liking, and probably theirs as well.
Striker, though, decent top-down overview. But it's going to be Exodus with the immediate trading of that big shield potion, making sure that his teammate is able to maintain as close to full shield as possible. Exodus, meanwhile, hey, you might be looking straight, but there's plenty of teams sure to be looking at you as well. Got to make sure that your backside is covered. And that's going to be an immediate drop down into the safety of their tower that they've managed to build up. Phaser and King, though, just outside of zone, just kind of landlocked for the time being as well on this beach outside of Relentless Retreat. It does not seem as though they're going to have a very easy time working their way in.
Nah, and you kind of saw them there on the leaderboard, 22 points overall. As it stands now, that bubble, that 25th spot is at 58 points. So it's not too far for any one of these teams to really climb up the pace, but the usual Misha and Teeny switching up their drop spot, not liking how their games have been going so far, so they're sticking to what even qualified them to the global championship themselves, and that is these sneak attacks. They're going ahead and trying to cut off somebody's boot path and take advantage while they can, and that's QNDX that they're going after, and they have a 2v1 for the time being, and they're wasting a lot of their resources just trying to build for it, because that is the extra loot that they need. Instead of farming up at a drop spot, this is the strategy that they're going to use, but unfortunately enough, their opponent does get away. He finds a way to disengage, so they're going to have to figure out where else they're going to get their loot from.
I don't know if that was intuition, by the way,
Maybe
from QND, or if maybe some sort of audio cue might have given things away there from Nisha and Teeny, but they were certainly ready to pull the trigger a little bit too soon there and didn't let QND actually fully step into the building. And again, it did seem as though QND kind of recognized better, thought that maybe the loot's a little bit too free in this circumstance.
Just a huge beam from Okus, trying to go ahead and get as much surge as possible. I think for someone like him, he's been doing a good job so far, trying to pick up these opportunities where he can. And that's the thing. Reet and Ritual probably didn't even really see exactly where those shots came from, who was surrounded or all around them, and see they're going towards the south side of the zone, that they have to be careful, because as long as they continue to go south, we saw the zone was pulling up. So this will be the congested side. You already see in the minimap there are so many teams going ahead and grabbing their spot all around them. That's going to make it that much harder, but Misha and Teeny keeping things on the run. The weapon cache is going to come up, and that's 7-man and Cow Gamer that they're trying to contest for it. A little bit of a mistake there with the briefcase turret, trying to go ahead and use it to their advantage. Teeny with a nice shot from the side, backs up towards his teammate. 7-man Cow Gamer. This could be their opportunity to try to advance, clean up this elimination, finish the damage you already put down. But for them, it's just grabbing the real estate, grabbing all that piece control, so when the cash does pop, it is all theirs.
Well, as far as 7-man and Cow Gamer are concerned, keep in mind, 7-man, decent loadout to take this challenge up against Teeny and Misha. Left side peek, maybe not the most favorable, but they're certainly still making the magic happen. Builds continuously being edited out for both sides and destroyed in the process here. But Teeny, Misha, they look as though they really want at least one, if not both, of these eliminations now. They know that 7-man and Cow Gamer are bound to have some excellent resources and materials, but again, if you're Cow Gamer and 7-man, we saw their loadouts. They don't necessarily need to pressure this. They've got exactly what they were looking for and can easily disengage at this point.
Yeah, and being another team that's outside of that top 25 bubble, they're just trying to play the safe game, scrape by, try to get some points, and that's Reet and Ritual are almost trying to do the opposite. They're trying to take the fight to Malibuca and Thomas. Thomas and Malibuca are one of those teams that talked about how good they're playing as a contested duo, but they're in 23rd place. Going down here, no placement points. They only get to 8 points for those eliminations off spawn. This is not what position you want to be in. And you can see they're not playing safe. Even though they did get some damage, they're not going ahead advancing on it. They got their spot in zone, and they're just trying to hold on to it. You see the loot switch. That's respect between teammates as well.
Malabuka definitely understanding that there's a reason Thomas is known as a fragger in the EU region. And with that sharp tooth, seems as though Thomas feeling a little bit more comfortable with trying to aggress even further onto Ritual and Re, but we'll have to tune back into them a little bit later on here, because keep in mind what Pink said in that mid-game interview. But we'll get more insight on that later on, because right now we've got some great insight coming your way via Mighty Miner.
Thank you so much, Taco. Now, we saw a huge game from Acorn and Cold right there, which basically solidifies their spot in the grand finals on Sunday. We can see them doing everything in their power to make sure that Pink and Vico don't have the same success. Now, Pink and Vico are actually in 29th place right now, so they're just dipping. They're getting out of there. Of course, getting inside the territory of Camry and Sethi as well. They don't want anything to do with it. They want to make sure they're avoiding fights as much as possible, because they've only got 2 games to make it happen.
With only 2 games left, you could see with Pink and Vico, they talked about it going down, but as all that happened, Merstash is now in a 1v2 position, trying to back up, trying to do as much as he can to try to stay alive. That's Duke and Edgy on the other side. They need these points, and it's a 2v1 situation, and Merstash is not backing down from the challenge. A nice shot, but that's going to be a miss. Merstash takes a little bit of damage, but he has more than enough heals to try to get himself into tip-top shape, and it's only really a matter of time. Duke and Edgy, if they realize that this man is a solo, that could be their opportunity to strike. At this stage in the game, with only 2 games left, you have to try to get as many points as possible. Even if you don't get in the top 25 here, you want to get yourself as close as possible.
The hesitation, though, is definitely not there as far as Verstroki and Kylie are concerned. They see a solo. They're ready to completely try and run him down, because it's going to be Inshari left to fend for himself here. A nice double elimination there, Verstroki and Kylie. So the plan, clearly a success from their starting point. A great job getting that reboot ban so they can play the game out as a duo.
285 above the Storm Surge threshold. Alex and Worthy trying to take advantage of this opportunity that is right before their very eyes. Peeking around towards the backside of the zone, where they're trying to predict some other teams are trying to find a little spot, a little crevice, anything that they can hang on to. But as you saw on the mini-map, not too many teams are there. Acorn and Cold, you said it yourself. They have already got their spot into Championship Sunday. But you know as well as I do, there's more than just money on the line. There's more than just the Axe of Champions. It's about calling yourself the best Fortnite duo in the world. And that's what Cold and Acorn came to do. Specifically Cold. He was at the Invitational along with Acorn, different duos, but he placed 3rd. He fell just shy of both Queasy and Vino and Cammy and Seti. And he's out for redemption here as Merstash in another 1v1. He takes out Okus, trying to keep the show alive.
So unfortunate for Okus, but Merstash, he might have found 1 elimination. He's got a lot more work ahead of him, though, just from this position alone here at the Creaky compound. As a solo, Merstash is really gonna have to try and play things safe from the backside of zone. Probably gonna have to wait, recognizing the fact that there's some other teams around him, but no, actually, he can't afford to play safe because the surge damage threshold has just tapped in. And with that in mind, Merstash now, it is essentially now or never. He's got to make a play. He's got to find some damage, and he is just barely managing to put himself into that safety net threshold. But he's looking to challenge for more.
That's just a daring play. Very, very brave, but that's something you kind of known from Merstash, one of the more mechanically skilled players in the EU region overall. He's willing to take those chances. He's willing to bet on himself, but since he didn't land a shot and didn't cover the distance, he's just trying to disengage. You said it yourself as well. He's just trying to find his way in towards the zone instead of waiting, letting time pass by and having all those duos pass him and try to hold him out. I think that was a perfect play for him to try to find his spot inside of the zone. But a team that needs to not only find their spot into the zone, they need to find damage, and they need to start to build that groove. 77 below, continuously falling. They're taking some time to try to get some resources, but that's the decision you got to make. What's more important, Storm Surge or resources to try to survive?
Granted, there is kinetic ore available for King and Vaser to utilize, but Unfortunate stuff there. It doesn't take them quite as far as they were hoping for. And now, with that sound going off, it seems as though teams on the hill have definitely taken... Oh, a beautiful shot, though, from King. That suppressed sniper rifle might be the main reason why they weren't as concerned, but they're still below on surge damage. Another shot like that, though, and they might just be ahead.
Nope, luckily there on the tail end. Couple of shots go through, 65 above. They do get the knock, but chances for them to be able to take advantage might not necessarily be there, but that's not necessarily what they were looking for. They were looking to move through. They were looking to get themselves a spot in towards the zone, and this is a replay of that shot. Just amazing coming out from King. While the pressure is on as well, he is one of the teams outside of that bubble that needs to put in that work.
And let that be a reminder, I think, for some of these teams, even if you have that height positioning, if you peek just a little bit too far, get a little bit too comfortable, well, a player like King, he'll make sure to take care of that for you.
Yeah, and a lot of these players, you know, they might lose sight of that suppressed sniper being in the game. They might forget, or they might be forced to peek to get the surge for themselves. And those are the opportunities we've been seeing all day, but danger happens. Duke goes down to paper from one team that has their spot for a team that's fighting for it. That leaves Edgy all by himself trying to clutch up. Acorn and Cold, first place on the leaderboard. They're faring well with that Storm Surge, even though they're just forced to continue to move north in this zone. They're bypassing a lot of those teams that are on that Rift Island, which honestly looks a little bit more active than we've seen in some of these previous games.
But for Cold and Acorn, when you know for a fact that you're already guaranteed that Championship Sunday, like we just talked about, they can do essentially whatever they want, even if it means just completely running down some other teams. Yeah, again, Pink and Nico talked about it. They mentioned it. Edgy and Duke, though, still looking to work together here as all these teams continue to pile in to the Eclipse to stay the way the zone is pulling. Mildly unforgiving, given some of the water surrounding the area, but definitely something that these teams can work with.
See the little bounce pad junior trying to boost themselves to the front side of the zone. They don't want to be one of the last teams there. And unfortunately enough, they will be in the back of the pack, but they instantly are trying to build for some elevation. They don't want to get stuck on that low ground, especially in this zone. That was what I was about to say. It could be a roller coaster of emotions. We're going up mountains. We're going across rivers. Anything can happen here, and they get into the box. Duke's being forced back. A lot of damage is there. He's going to get knocked. It's all up to Edgy, and their run comes to an end in 34th place. That leaves their backs up against the wall in our 5th and final game.
Yeah, Acorn and Cold do not care. It does not matter who it is. As long as you appear in front of them as a target, they will look to eliminate you. And they've been extraordinarily successful all day so far today. Malabuka and Thomas, though, they've also had a pretty solid day as well, Jacob. But again, this is definitely an instance where they could look to cement themselves in that top 25 game 4 goes well.
See them just trying to get that damage. Robob goes down, but at least his teammate Axe Force is still alive, trying to grab them as many points as possible. But at least they're inside or at that 10th place spot for now. Probably got it secured, but you don't want to leave it up to a pro, but you don't want to leave it up to the judges. As you see another replay. Oh my gosh, what did we just witness from King? Does he go back to back? There is no way. This man is on fire. I dare anybody on that stage to try to step in his path now, because he's looking like an avalanche trying to demolish anything in his way.
Look at the loadout, the double suppressed sniper rifle. He's even got the sniper surplus augment to boot, and he is making fantastic work of it. But Strokey and Kylie, I am so sorry, but King, actually, that's his turf.
You back a dog into a corner. This is exactly what is going to happen. They realize the pressure that they're under. They realize what's at stake. Even though they do have tomorrow if they fall short, that's not something anybody wants to stress about. You finish the job here, you get it done, you give yourself a break, a chance to relax, and VOD review. Blaha, Mixon, another one of our teams that we've seen do great things throughout the year. 157 above the damage threshold, even though that might not seem like a lot, but from what we've seen like from the lobby, there's a lot of teams that are around those similar numbers, but luckily for everybody, it turns off for now. Even though it wasn't a far rotation with the bounce pad junior, it's just step by step. That's the way a lot of teams got to take it, just one foot in front of the other.
And for Blaha and Mixon, it's certainly one tarp in front of the other as they keep trying to make their way forward. Look at Cammy and Seti though, all the way at the very top of Eclipse's stake. And this is some primo real estate if you are Cammy and Seti. But it does seem as though they're gonna have to disembark from this little throne that they've established for the time being, but not without laying some suppressive fire to everyone below them first.
Yeah, and leaderboard, kind of see the top side of what's going on. But 19th, 20, 21st place, down, 24th place, down, 26th place, even down. So if you're outside of that bubble for now, this is your chance to shine. This is your chance to pick up those points. And you kind of saw it at the start of the day with Queasy and Vino. 90+ points for that Victory Royale combined with 7 eliminations, so anything is definitely possible. And that's why Bugha and Threats are putting themselves to the test now. They have 4 eliminations and barely any placement points just left. There's 24th place and 24 teams still left alive, so there's still so many possible points up for grabs.
But the best part is, Threats and Bugha, they're at least still together as we enter this late game, which is something we have not really had a chance to see from this duo all day today. It's been repetitive as far as solo clutch circumstances are concerned, and they just haven't really been able to bring anything to fruition because of that. Pink and Vico, though, under a lot of pressure here from Malabuka and Thomas. So many other teams surrounding them. Sometimes it can be really difficult to tell just which direction your builds are actually getting targeted from.
They survived the off-spawn battle between Acorn and Cold. This is their chance to shine, even though they don't have much to work with. We've seen them do amazing things before. Vico, one of the more aggressively skilled players, and forget on top of the world when it comes to Fortnite. They're going astronomical, building off of the moon towards Relentless Retreat, trying to hold on to their high ground. They have the rocket ram for backup as well. So if anybody looks up, tries to chop them down, they do have a plan B. Pink getting a couple more eliminations. Thomas, Malabuka, bypassing everybody else. They're trying to stay to the front side of the zone, looking back only when they have to. They have their eyes set on the prize for now.
But I wonder if anybody realizes just how far up Cammy and Seti are. Vico, he needed a refresh instead. He'll find himself waiting for game number 5 to begin. As Seti, Cammy, we see Seti up so right now with the rocket grab. Who he comes crashing down on is another story to be decided, because Yamzo and Rise, they're under fire right now. Yamzo's gonna drop all the way to the water. Realizes, tries to escape, but not able to. Mixon and Blaha instead, the only ones seemingly able to continue pressing forward in this mid-low ground layer.
4 solos running around this lobby full of duos. Queasy and Vino again. These guys are impressive, consistently finding a way to go for that high ground. Just a test here, just like in the first game, they're looking to hold on to it, get that Victory Royale. Another elimination being found by Malabuka. Their total as a team does move up to 5. 12 teams remain. These are the points that they were looking for. They started this game in 23rd place. This game alone, if they come out on top, could qualify them to Championship Sunday, but the fight continues. Cold and Acorn just trying to tear everybody down, even if that means it's their NA counterpart as Pars and Baka fall.
If there's one thing that Cold loves to do, it's play disruptor on the low ground layers. Because now Seti, Cammy, they're actually going to be able to retake height because Queasy and Veno, they're no longer here. At some point, they winded up falling. Queasy himself potentially eliminated from this match. And we're seeing everyone below, Cammy and Seti, just doing what they can to stay alive. But Thomas and Malabuka, they have been on a rampage in these lower layers.
Yep. Cammy gets another one onto Muzz, finding him as a solo. Another player is going to drop. Sphinx and Poyo, who absolutely came out of nowhere on the NA region to claim their spot here in Major 2, but they don't want just the spot, they want to take over. Thomas finds another elimination, taking down Seti. Now the high ground has changed, and they're trying to keep it for themselves. Acorn gets sniped out of the air with the Sharp Tooth, and now we're into our final 4 teams left alive, but 2 of them are solos. One of them is Cammy. He's trying to do what he can to try to bypass with that men miss, falling down low to the low ground. He goes down. A 2v2 situation. Sphinx and Poyo drop them into the palm of their hands, but a nice shot's gonna be traded off, but a down onto Thomas, and they take the game. NA on top, thanks to Poyo and Sphinx.
What a massive comeback, though, from Poyo and Sphinx. I mean, 12 eliminations, given that they were in such a dire position heading into this match. That is a massive point swing here, Jacob. That might just be enough to even make them surface in our top 25.
And they might have snatched away the single game elimination record, but I'm gonna let Frankie talk about that because there she is on stage with our winners.
Yeah, I just had to come in and ask everything you were saying in that final zone because your mouth was going off. How were the comms?
I don't know. Pollo just doesn't really talk. Kind of just, you know, gets kills, does his thing, and I'm just, you know, there for the ride, you know?
And do you just are happy to let him off the leash like that?
I mean, if he gets the kills, I got no problem with it.
And Pollo, your ear's burning now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a man of few words. He is a man of few words. He was so what, sorry?
It was so loud.
He was incredibly loud. To be honest, I felt like I could hear him backstage. So for you, how has the day been so far? Now you've got your victory royale as well.
Yeah, it's been 2-1 off spawn.
Okay.
I think we're at the bottom of the leaderboard, but I think we'll be near wall range now.
Hopefully, we will take a look at the leaderboard shortly. I love this. You're a man of so many words. I can hear him in the background going 2-1, 2-1. Is there anything you'd like to say to people watching right now and supporting you?
It's really laggy. It's really laggy. I mean, these servers are atrocious, but, you know, we're making it work.
Well, you know what? Everyone is in the same boat, and it's fantastic to see you guys doing so well. As you say, 2-1. Are you going to make it 3-1 now?
I mean, that's the only option.
It is the only option. Hopefully, you are closer to qualifying for Sunday. If not, you'll get to play again tomorrow, and you'll get to show why NA is potentially the best region. Or would you say it is already?
Obviously.
Obviously, of course. He's a little bit biased. Boyo, I know you're a man of few words, but give me one more. What's it like to play in Copenhagen?
It's different. It's not the same as at home.
That's the most words, and I loved it. Thank you so much. Congratulations, everyone. Sphinx and Boyo!
Well, Evan. NA on top. What do you have to say now?
Look, I just want to start by saying, I love how, like, Pollo just won the game, hype moment, and all he's thinking is, like, can Sphinx just stop talking? He's talking too much. Like, can you just pipe down a bit, mate? You know, like, that's his only concern about that game. All I have to say is, right, after that, you know, Thomas HD and Malibuku were popping off. It looked like they were going to win the game. The crowd was getting loud. When Sphinx win the game, everyone's just like, what did we just watch? Like, the shots Sphinx and Pollo were just hitting at the end of it. Insane.
From the low ground as well. And yeah, I mean, you got to give the positional advantage there 100% to Thomas, HD, and Malibuka, right? High ground is usually what wins games in Fortnite. But the shots, like you mentioned, I mean, it's just too clean. And usually, I give my respect to Acorn and Cold because usually they're so good on the low ground. Pollo and Sphinx, they're looking a little bit better, especially in this game, because they were just getting elimination.
Look at this.
Elimination. Boom. That's the winning shot right there. You make it a 2v1, clean it up easy.
Just disgusting. This one, I feel like I could say this about every game we've seen so far. They have been roller coasters from, you know, Seti and Cammy up on high ground, them going straight up, then suddenly it's Queasy and Veno, just kidding, it's back to Seti and Cammy. Now it's Thomas HD looking to contest. I mean, this is what I want to see, is people get more comfortable. People say, look, we're just not going to let people go for the high ground. We want this too.
Yeah, 100%. And look at this, right? They were talking about it. They were towards the bottom of the leaderboard. Look at that placement now, 15th, right? That question mark was there. I think we're in qual range. You are definitely in qual range if you are 15th right now. A couple more points might secure it for you, but it is looking good for them right now.
Yeah, if they can keep hitting shots like that, they'll be well on their way to being in that qual range and being secure, right? So I think the big thing from them is not to let this win almost, you know, get them too excited. Right, stick to what's been working for you and sort of go with that going into this last one. I mean, again, I'm just still mesmerized by some of the shots they were hitting. They were putting on a clinic in that end game.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that, you know, you have one in Sphinx that maybe talks a lot by what they would consider each other, and then Pollo doesn't talk apparently at all. But yet they're sitting here racking up 12 eliminations in game number 4 of the Global Championship upper bracket. I did not think we'd see any duo break double digits, and they just went on and did it, Vivid.
Yeah, absolutely incredible stuff. Now we get the opportunity to look at the standings. Acorn and Cold, they're pulling away with their lead, still in first place, but Queasy and Veno also managed to hold on to second place, and Cammy and Seti, they are on the rise.
That top 3 looks all too familiar, right? You look at, if you were to analyze this whole year and look at who have been the best teams all across the world, these guys, you know, that top 3 in particular has just been 3 of the biggest names you mentioned.
For sure. Yeah, but Levin, Zeke, I'm looking towards 10th place right now. Thomas, HD, and Malibuka, right? I said 23rd place coming into this game. It wasn't comfortable. So they went ahead and clutched up this game, but there was more than just one clutch this game.
Yeah, they were going crazy, right? You know, I think we all talked about how they needed to start to step it up, and they finally did. Malabuka and Thomas started to cook. And I think we know them as being incredible individual players, but when they start doing things like this, Thomas going up on height, he doesn't care who's there. He just knows he wants it, and they take it so well. Of course, yes, Poyo and Sphinx win the game, and they sort of shut them up with a really big shot. But these guys throughout that end game were incredibly dominant, showing off why they are revered as one of the favorites for this tournament.
And I wonder what put them in a situation where they didn't have those mats, right? What led up to that ultimately where, because if they had materials, it feels like that's an easy closeout, right? But they're kind of put in this situation where Poyo and Sphinx on the low ground of all things, they have materials, they have the angles. You're sitting there like a fish in a barrel, like, yep, we're gonna jump down. You've got your angles. We hope we'll hit ours.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you go up for high ground right, we saw them, they had to go ahead and contest the high ground right when they got the eliminations. It takes a lot of materials to go ahead and actually build up there. You have to make sure that all of your builds kind of stay supported and stuff like that. So that's probably why they were out of materials. And then not to mention Poyo and Sphinx just picking up so many eliminations on the low ground, almost impossible for them not to have those builds necessary.
Of course, right? When you're racking them up over and over again, you're sort of just, even if it is just siphon that you're getting, right, it goes a long way, whereas Thomas and Malabuka weren't quite able to loot everything that they were getting.
Yep.
Just, you know, part of the trade, especially when you're up there on height as well towards the end of the game. Standard procedure, but they won't be upset with that game. They'll be very happy, especially when you look at the previous games they've had.
And, you know, I got to mention it, right? That Thomas HD Malabuka clutch all spawn. Malabuka with the 1v2. Actually awesome stuff. And honestly, coming into this, they should have been expecting stuff like this, because throughout this chapter, Malabuka and Thomas, they have done that 7 times where one of them have gone down early and they've clutched it up.
No easy feat, especially when you look at the competition they've been facing. Thomas, towards the start of the day, said, look, I've faced much better competition off spawn than Canada and Ages, right? So I'm used to doing this. And if he's able to 1v2 against players like that, they'll be confident they can 1v2 against Canada and Ages as well. So really good to see that happen. Like you said, the 2 clutches for them in that game.
You guys talk about Thomas HD, and I'm thinking Thomas HD, probably one of the best snipers in the world. Then I kind of flash back to mid-game. I want to just quickly highlight King with 2 of the back-to-back most disgusting snipes we've seen today.
Unbelievable. King is the kind of player that's always going to give you that special moment, right? You know, we all think back to the World Cup times, right? When he eliminated Tfue, we were all hyped thinking, you were nervous, this Argentinian kid taking out Tfue, right? Here again today. We expect Thomas HD to be the sniper machine. King sitting everybody down. You were saying it during the game, right? They were 200 down below Surge, and then a couple minutes later, they're 600 above. That's ridiculous, all from his snipes alone.
Those shots were absolutely clutch for sure. But now let's talk about the clutch that is necessary for teams that are in the bubble.
That's right, 25. The top 25 will go on to Sunday. Take a look right now. M. Sherry and Rue sitting on that bubble. 68 points is the minimum going into these next games. Just take a look at some of the names, even just down there in 30th, right? Cooper and Miro right there on the bubble. Kitos and PH Jin as well. But as we've seen, it just takes one good game and you can just change everything. Now, even look at 31st, Podesai and Snazy. M8, y'all out there? Yo, Snazy and Podesai?
They're asleep, buddy. Blue!
There they are. Y'all can hear them in the crowd. They're going crazy. But even someone like Booga and Threats, right? They've kind of been relatively quiet. Currently sitting in 34th. They can make up the ground, but they really need to come online here in this last game.
Yeah, 100%. You know, we are at the Global Championship, right? Let's talk about regional representation in that top 5 or top 25 right now. EU, there are currently 13 duos. NA currently has 8 duos. And then 1 per each of the regions in OCE, Brazil, Middle East, and Asia. So that is currently what the regional breakdown is looking like so far through the upper bracket.
Yeah, I think for me personally, the NA teams have impressed so much, right? Of course, they do make up a big part of the lobby, but I think what we've seen is not just the trailblazers, the typical NA teams you expect to dominate, some of the ones just in that beneath tier, right, that have come through and really made their mark on this competition, right? Showed us that they aren't just here to sort of hang around and enjoy, you know, Copenhagen and have a good time, find a girlfriend, some of them were saying, right? Some of them are here to actually try and win, right? That's what it's all about for them, right? So, you know, the priorities on a lot of these NA players are clearly, you know, to come here and show EU, show the other regions what they got.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about this back in Major 2, right? At the end of it, I asked you the question, Levin, do you think NA hangs if we get to globals? At the time, it was no. right? And I think for a lot of players in NA, they're thinking, okay, 11-2K, we'll see you at LAN then. Because it feels like NA is playing with a chip on their shoulder. And I also kind of want to play a little bit of devil's advocate. What if we're revealing strategies a little too soon? What if EU is like, yeah, you guys are ahead. That's cool. Then Championship Sunday, they're like, okay, so we were just holding it all back. You know, we were letting you play out there thinking you had something. It's all a show.
Maybe not an element of showing strats too early, but definitely let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? You know, it's just day one. It's just the upper bracket, right? The finals coming, right? And that's when we got to be looking at the leaderboard and really going, okay, how are the NA teams doing? How are the EU teams doing? I think once we get to that point, that's when we can really start to give that analysis of, regionally around the world, who looks the strongest. I'm still going to say the EU boys, right? But there are some top NA teams out there that are showcasing that they can hang with anyone.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, NA teams are finding themselves out there. I'm very happy to see so far the performance out of some of the top ones.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the stats we're seeing here out of the competition so far. This is the upper bracket. Let's break it down by the numbers. Currently, as we look at this list. Okay, most eliminations. Here we go. Acorn and Cold, that's not surprising, right? They're currently sitting in that #1 spot. It makes sense. Queasy and Benno right behind, though. Do you guys feel like this is the level of aggression we would see coming into day #1 of the competition?
For me, probably, yeah, I'd say, right? I think, especially seeing those two teams there is great for me in terms of Acorn and Cold, Queasy, Vino. I look at Vino, I look at Cold as individuals. Throughout the year, they were the two players I think were going head-to-head for, best player in the world a lot of the year. And so to see them up there in terms of eliminations just makes sense.
You'll love to see it. Guess what? Fortnite fam, it is time. The last game of the day here in the upper bracket is about to kick off. So casters, on over to you.
Thanks so much, Zeke, Vivid, and 11 for all the insight on the analyst desk. But our final game of today's upper bracket, match #5, is just on the horizon. We've seen so many teams now in that 26th to 50th position trying to escalate themselves into the top 25 so that they don't have to worry about tomorrow's lower bracket matches, Jacob. They want to make sure that they are already guaranteed for Championship Sunday.
Yeah, and if you look at that leaderboard, as our analyst broke it down, some teams, they just have to do the bare minimum. Other teams, they need a top placement, and then some teams need a win and you're in scenario. And I just want to go ahead and talk about Kanata and Agers, Thomas and Malabuka. Thomas and Malabuka have narrowly clinched their spot. You saw them into the top 10. Kanata and Aegis around 39th place. They're one of the teams I'm talking about, a top 10 finish, but they have to be able to survive that off-spawn battle, which hasn't really been going their way today.
Even just now, we saw the collection of players just outside of where Queasy and Benno are sitting. I mean, it was Threats. We also saw Kanata there, and the conversation that he looked like he was having with Thomas, maybe he's like, hey man, chill on me at that drip bridge, because this 50-50 is not the kind of 50-50 that Kanata and Aegis were hoping for at the start of today. But again, when you keep in mind the fact that Kanata and Agers, coming out of that being recent FNCS champions from Major 3, I'm sure they have it in them to make the comeback.
Yeah, and I think Poyo and Sphinx from NA have really shown. And one thing I want to talk about is when the regions were separated, when we had NA East, when we had NA West, nobody gave NA West a single chance. Even myself said it might take a month. It might take a major for them to get in that groove, but there are a number of not only NA teams, but these NA players boosting to the top of the leaderboard that we could see on Championship Sunday. Then obviously our regular NA residents towards the top side of that leaderboard as well, Cold and Acorn. And I want to talk about them just a little bit as well. You saw Pink and Vico, but we're going to see them here again because the battle bus is ready. Let's get this last and final game underway.
It has been a beautiful day so far of matches containing our 50 teams here in the upper bracket. Some of the strongest teams even from their respective regions, but only 25 can actually break through and guarantee themselves a seat on that battle bus for Championship Sunday. We've seen a handful of them in the top 10 feeling relatively safe, but the relief can't come quick enough for those teams just outside the top 25.
And I can count at the top of my head at least 3 of these off-spawn battles that would decide if a team goes towards the lower bracket or at least gives themselves a chance to get to that top 25 to earn that championship Sunday spot themselves. And this is going to be one of them. Malabuka and Thomas, Agers and Granada, and judging by their elevation, it is on.
It's looking like Agers might have the peak on the punch though. Agers and Granada quicker as far as the drop is concerned. Opening of the chest, but it's a tactical DMR here that Granada's got to work with, trying to break Thomas's initial build. Agers got to follow it up with the Maven Auto. That's going to be Thomas down for the count. 1 knock already. Agers taking full advantage of the siphon as well. And another benefit is the tactics that came with it.
C'est pas trop d'eau, quoi.
Minus the heals, and you see Malibu now on the run, grabs that slurp truck, and now he has decisions to make. Do I try to fight the 2v1 while I have the underhand, or do I go ahead and try to disengage and just already see it on the mini-map, just trying to survive? Even though they did lose the off-spawn battle, they know they have their spot, now it's just for bragging rights.
Extremely unlikely that we see Malabuka try to lap back anytime soon here at the racetrack. He knows that it's going to take some time before Agers and Kanata fully clear this area out. And if he wants to get Thomas's reboot card, he might force himself into waiting. But the wait is over as far as threats in Booga are concerned. That's going to be a quick elimination to start things off for a team that desperately needs it.
Yeah, you see, taking advantage of what the chest on the side of that mountain. Nixon goes down. That's not only important points for movement threats, that's a storm surge to really give themselves a little bit of a cushion because we know that's not going to be enough. Another one of our on-spawn battles that are paramount for team success. King and Phaser, Cow Gamer 7-man, shots are being fired. Phaser's going to quickly disengage. He doesn't want to give up too much. He has big pots, and if King can get to him, that'll allow him to heal up as well.
But even with the vault card, Phaser can't charge just yet unless Cow Gamer and 7-man have it in there. Just prioritize that, but
Elle pense trop fort, je suis désolée.
distance. Remind the resources though. Builds not looking the best as far as 7-man is concerned. Cow Gamer,
Oh, dans le crâne, attends, non.
so he is not at all. So this is definitely going to put Call Gamer and 7-man to home, and that is more than enough time for Phaser and King to get decent left here at
Whoa!
If they want to see Sunday right here, otherwise they'll have to go to the lower bracket and earn it yet again. But you see a switch up of what we saw last game. King and Phaser this time around taking control of that ball over towards the Rentals retreat. And instead of disengaging, 7-man and Cow Gamer are still moving up. There's a lot of room there to grab. A huge battle going down yet again. But Cammy and Seti, they're separated, but they're trying to pincer them in. They're trying to surround from multiple angles and trap them in that little barn.
one of the most common fights that we've seen so far today. And Stain and Data's though holding their own. And what a way to represent Asia though. I mean, we talk all the time ever since the Invitational really, where we saw some of the potential, I think, from Asia's fraggers. And so Data's and Stain looking to try and follow that up as much as possible. They have been going toe-to-toe here with Cammy and Seti. And granted, Frenzy Fields hasn't necessarily always gone their way, but it's definitely made a little bit of a difference between Seti and Cammy because they had to go through here basically the last few matches to play catch-up.
Down a lot of skirmishes with your back up against the wall. No choice but try to get the elimination points. Max first, Robot going against Diakjin and Kikos. Kikos and Diakjin actually do need this. They are outside of the bubble, 26th place, and a nice shot to try to back down Axe Force. Still, they pounce, they get the 2v1, give themselves at least a one-man advantage. Kido's trying to heal up. They're not wanting to give them that opportunity. Drop them down into the palm of their hands. They're attacking for both. Time is running out. Unless a miracle
pardon. C'est notre meilleur live.
Ouais, la commande vue.
Allô?
Ouais, allô, allô.
Allô, allô.
Oui, allô, allô, allô. Je suis là. Tu m'as rendu muet? Allô?
Quoi?
Tu m'as rendu muet?
Non.
Ah, bah voilà.
Attends. Par contre, c'est notre meilleur live. T'as vu les statistiques?
Combien il a combien? Il a combien de vues?
35. Et depuis tout à l'heure, on a 36 personnes qui regardent le live. Et on a déjà eu 2 commentaires. Il y a un mec, il a dit salut. Ouais, il a dit salut. Et un mec, il a dit il reste combien de games. Par contre, on a gagné 2 robots. En vrai, c'était 36 vues. Ça monte.
Ça fait 100 minutes.
C'est super bien là. Je veux dire, t'as vraiment bien géré le live, bon. Et je suis trop content. C'est bien. T'as bien géré le live. T'as pas dit oh tu sais quoi j'arrête le live parce qu'il y a plus qui s'allie. Moi j'ai cru qu'au bout d'un moment t'allais dire ça. En vrai c'est bien, t'as bien géré le live. 100% pour ça. 36 personnes qui n'ont rien là. Et j'ai changé le titre, j'ai mis live. Ouais, un peu plus même. J'ai mis live FNCS. Changer le titre. Comme ça, les gens quand ils vont marquer live FNCS, ils vont tout de suite tomber sur notre live.
Ok.
Ah, je suis bon. Ça c'est dans mon live. Alors, il y a un moment,
on a 7 abonnés, frérot. On a 7 abonnés. Ils sont abonnés à nous.
Mais non, depuis tout à l'heure, on en a 7. Hein.
Ah ouais?
Depuis hier, on en a 7. Hein.
Ah ouais?
On a toujours eu 7 depuis 3 jours.
C'est incroyable. Là, il n'y a plus qu'un seul visuel.
Tu vas faire des games normales ou... On peut faire des games normales?
Quoi?
On peut faire des games normales ou pas?
Bah oui.
C'est avec la cup, je pense qu'on est incroyable la cup. Et en fait, la cup elle dure 3 jours.
Bah oui, elle dure 3 jours.
Les gens ils sont logés et tout. En vrai, je suis bloqué, il n'y a pas Ninja, il n'y a pas Bouga.
Si, il y a Bouga, il y a Bouga. Si, frérot, il y a Bouga.
C'était une qualif là ou c'était des invitations?
Là, c'est une qualif. Mais là, tu sais qu'il y a. Tu sais, frérot, là, il y a Bouga.
C'est vrai?
Ouais, mais non, mais il y a vraiment Bouga.
Mais il y a un mec qui l'a dit. Enfin, dommage, en vrai, s'il aurait fait ça, on aurait vu sa tête.
Ouais, mais après.
J'espère qu'il a dit au lobby de. Moi, je trouve.
Après, il est claqué. Après, jamais il va réussir à faire les FNCS, frérot.
Mais j'espère il est pas claqué. Hein.
Bon, ouais,
j'espère il a un bon niveau, mais il est surtout très fort en technique. C'est ça qui lui donne un bon. Pour moi, c'est tout le contraire. J'ai un bon niveau, mais je suis nul en technique. Alors que lui, genre, il va connaître les gagneurs par cœur, il va connaître les armes par cœur. H24 en train de jouer.
Oh là là! Oh, il était belle.
On est bientôt aux 100 minutes.
Bah, on est aux 100 minutes. 103 minutes, là.
Ouais.
Aïe. Un game peut-être faire beaucoup.
Wesh! Bien, sur notre live, ça m'a marqué. Sur notre live, ça n'a pas marqué parce que genre c'est temps, ça se réaffiche. Mais j'ai regardé sur YouTube Studio, on a 56 vues.
Wow!
Même plus. Attends. Avant, on a 60 vues.
Wow! Non. Imagine, on a les 100 vues.
Bah j'ai un pote, il les a fait facile. Hein.
C'est facile.
Mais il y a plein de gens qui
mais
bon, ça s'est affiché 118 fois dans les barres de recherche. Donc live. Et il y a... Bon bah beaucoup de personnes. C'est bien YouTube, il y a plein de statistiques et tout, c'est trop bien, tu peux tout voir. Tu peux voir tout ce qui a cliqué dessus, combien de pourcents de j'aime, c'est plus des abos ou des inconnus.
Il est tombé.
Bon, on va pas se mentir, YouTube c'est mieux que Twitch.
Ça va,
Et
franchement.
t'es content, ok? Je suis trop content.
Bah, 60 vues quand même, c'est bien.
Ah, par notre live, là, on a fait 12 vues. Ah, non, même pas, on doit être à, je sais même pas, non, non. Regardez. YouTube, plutôt, on a 16 vues. Attends, je vais ajouter le live dans notre... dans la public.
Ok, top 2. Je vais faire une 25 kills, frérot. Ok, il est
Faire
pas
la
là.
map, ouais, non, mais...
Aïe.
Ouais, je sens comment on fait déjà, je suis complètement débile, moi.
Attends, 2 secondes.
Non, t'occupe pas, je t'appelle mon nom. C'est toi.
Non, mais je veux juste regarder si on a bien 60 vues, hein, si tu mytho pas, hein.
Eh, je mytho pas, la vie de ma mère.
Comment on fait?
Quand tu vas sur YouTube Studio, tu vas dans contenu, tu vas après dans diffusion en direct, ça met 50
Non,
000
ça
vues.
marque 39 vues, putain, mytho.
Je t'envoie un stream, je t'envoie un stream. Ah, regarde, je
40
t'envoie
vues,
stream,
putain, ça augmente. Merde.
Je te promets, on a 59 vues.
Moi, ça me marque 40, hein, frérot.
Et c'est parce que des fois, genre, t'as acheté le temps, ça s'affiche et tout. Faut faire CTRL R.
Allez voir. Ah ouais, 59 vues. Oh, t'as bien vite. Non, ça.
Oh non, il y a ma mère. Hello, that's all my music.
J'essaie de faire un skybase.
En plus, c'est vrai, c'est comme ça qu'on fait.
De vues, ça augmente. Non, ta mère. Pardon. Mon truc, il est où? Il est là. Mon stuff, il est là. Oui. Je dis à l'essentiel. Ça fait 1h50 hein. Ça va bientôt faire 2 heures. On va essayer de au moins faire les 2 heures. Moi là j'arrête pas maintenant. Sur les vendredis. Wesh. Elle est pas discrète. Hein. À chaque combien de caches? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ouais, chaque 5. 5 caches. Ah non, ça c'est le boss. Ok, je peux pas.
Oh là là.
Tu bugs, tu bugs, tu bugs. Ouais, non, c'est vrai, c'est vrai. Ouais, c'est ce que j'ai fait. Ouais. Oh, j'ai tellement fait. Ouais, je veux. Oui, oui. Là, je vais faire exprès de... La peur, la pété. Hop, hop. Je pourrais bien flip comme ça, tac, tac. Tout vite. Boum. Crac, attention.
Tu m'entends là?
Ouais, ouais, c'est bon, je t'entends. On va faire la zone la plus petite. Fais ça. Je l'ai grand. Je fais les effets de là.
Beaucoup de gens.
Ah, 46 jeux.
Ça doit être plus. Hein. Des fois, genre, des trucs comme ça. Genre, ça fait toujours ça qu'on passe en retour même. Genre, ça fait plus de vues sur les petites vidéos et moins de ça. Oh, j'ai trouvé! Oh, j'ai trouvé! Oh là là! Après toutes ces années.
De quoi?
En fait, tu vois, je pouvais diffuser sur des trucs sur ma télé avec Chromecast.
Ouais.
Et ben moi, je pouvais faire que sur mon ordinateur fixe. Je croyais qu'il était parce qu'il était branché à la boîte.
Ouais.
Mais non, en fait, c'est parce qu'il faut être sur Microsoft.
Bah, c'est logique.
Bah non.
Si ta télé, elle est comme ça, si.
C'est une télé Google, non.
Mais une télé quoi, alors?
Enfin, je veux dire, Chromecast, c'est Google. Et moi, genre,
Bah oui,
je
justement.
fonctionne avec
Soit tu
Firefox.
fais un truc Google, ou je sais pas.
Oh, trop bien. Attends, je vais te filmer une prise à la télé. Ah non, ah non.
Attendez, je vous remets sur Twitch, là.
Je crois que les gens, ils aiment bien comme ça. Alors, combien de temps cela fait?
Oh là là, frérot.
Par contre, genre, il y a plus beaucoup de monde là sur notre live, mais en fait, les deux, ils commencent à monter. Je me demande si c'est pas un bug, peut-être que... On a 64 vues.
Bon,
Déjà,
j'arrive.
t'essayes de faire les 100 vues.
Bah ouais, ça serait bien. Hein. J'arrive.
T'arrêtes pas de live, hein.
Non, non, t'inquiète pas. Mais dès que tu vas partir, je vais arrêter en fait.
Bah non, pas obligé parce que moi, en fait, là, à mon avis, là, sur mon PC pendant longtemps. 21h, 21h30.
Bon, allez, salut, je reviens après. Là. Je reviens dans 10 minutes.
Quoi? Comment ça dans 10 minutes? Y'a quoi dans 10 minutes?
Attends, je coupe mon micro parce que frérot.
Y'a quoi dans 10 minutes?
Hein? T'as dit quoi?
Y'a quoi dans 10 minutes?
Et je vais juste faire un truc et après je reviens, t'inquiète.
Ah, j'ai cru que tu voulais arrêter là. Le live, on me laisse un peu, au moins jusqu'à 21h. Dinguerie le live. On a 65 vues.
King forced to stabilize himself, stop the rotation. So that means a lot of teams are going to be able to hop over him and get to zone first.
Again, right now, it seems the King, he's trying to prioritize positioning, just hoping that some other team, some other solo gets eliminated first, and that could potentially put him to where he actually isn't below that search threshold. But Kanata right now, just barely clinging on, but it won't be enough. Finally finds himself eliminated from the lobby. Unfortunate run there for Kanata and Aegis in our final game of the day.
Yeah, at least he got this experience of playing on the big stage because he's going to have to go again tomorrow against our last chance major teams. Zaxidus and his teammate have the high ground. They started this game on the bubble. You got to imagine they've been climbing up that ladder just like Bugha and Threats. You talked about it yourself. You even casted it throughout the day. They have yet to play a solid game as a duo. This is their chance. But the solos trying to push back both Alex and Worthy as well. A lot of damage being done here by Storm Surge, not even these players.
We're seeing so many teams, though, struggling with Storm Surge, but for Bugha and Threats, they were over 800 damage above. They can focus entirely on how they choose to actually tarp through some of these congested layers, and right now, Miro, forced into a solo position, won't have any sort of time to try and help out Cooper in the process. We are simply too deep into these moving zones at this point. Is now Miro finds himself in a decent amount of pressure, a couple of slash flashes, all of his slash flashes actually going to be expended here. Is Miro trying to see if he can find an opening from the backside of the zone. Nutty from the side though. Wow. Clean shot onto 7-man and a quick build up to utilize his med kit.
Quick moving, quick reacting, but not quick enough. That's Cowgamer and 7-man. A big game's needed from them. They could boost themselves into that top 25 as well. Bugha and Threats, 5 eliminations so far, peeking down low, trying to recycle some of these builds because they know they don't got much left. A refresh or a siphon match, anything is what they're looking for. And they even split it between them two, so it's even less for an individual. They fall on top of Alex. Can they get that elimination? Can they get the siphon? Yes, they can. Off the back of Threats, who gets a double elimination and push themselves into the top 10.
Just barely there. No, Bugha actually gonna find himself trapped just outside. He won't be able to make it in time. And the knock from that surge damage, that's so tough. The Storm is going to be his ultimate competitor. But Threats still up. Threats still trying to move forward. Doesn't have much left in the med mist though. Needs to find a refresh at this point.
Almost 100% necessary, but these points that he's grabbing here, staying alive, 7 eliminations as well. This could be enough, but it's definitely going to be a buzzer beater if I've ever seen one myself, and he's continuing to bypass everybody. But on the high ground, it's Yamzo and Rise that are trying to take this last and final game of the day. A few teams actually that are stuck down low still need this shot to try to qualify. Misha and Teen is one of them. Trulex and Chicho, they probably already got their spot, but Threats does it yet again. Another elimination, trying to go ahead and keep him and Bugha's dream alive.
But for Threats, he didn't find any sort of white heals, which he needed. Granted, it might not be necessary. Almost found the closing shot there onto Rise, but with the Yamzo there to back him up, it's no problem whatsoever. And we are seeing one of NA's finest with a victory royale for the day close.
I'd call them one of the most dangerous teams coming into the Global Championship. It may have taken them some time to heat up, but they have finally won the game. And I want to go ahead and hear exactly what they have to say, so I'm going to throw it over to Frankie to let us know how they're feeling in this moment.
I'm between the Danger duo, and what a day it's been for the two of you. A spot in Sunday's grand final was inevitable, but how did you ramp things up for the victory royale at the end of today?
It was a rough first few games. We had a 2-0 pointers back-to-back, so said we wouldn't last, and he, I think 3 headshot snipes this game, so it set us up in the beginning of the game and got the win.
And you are currently in 4th place. So you say you've had a tough day, but you've had incredible performance. For you, Rise, what's it been like getting to compete with so many people here?
It's been awesome. It's my first LAN, and I'm just excited to be here.
It's your first LAN. That's incredible because you're taking to it like a duck to water. Let me ask you about this year and getting ready for LAN, because we know the two of you love to go for eliminations, but you've had to find consistency and stability to make it to the end games, and now you make it look successful. What do you think was the key to making that change?
To be honest, we've just been playing the whole year, and we just kept the same play style.
Yeah, and for the two of you now, how are you finding the pressure of being on LAN? Is it affecting the comms in any way?
I think the first game we're a little nervous, of course, both our first LANs, but after game 1, it went away, and it feels good to be playing an international stage, so.
Do you think you could get used to being on LAN? Do you feel like this is your favorite place to be now?
Yeah, I just have to get used to it, and once you get used to it, it's kind of easy.
You make it look easy, I'm not gonna lie, but I know it's definitely not. Yamzo, Rise, congratulations. We'll see you on Sunday, and we'll see the guys on the jets right now, I think.
Thank you so much. This is a unicorn duo. This is a rare type of duo, okay? I'm talking you're bringing together two people who are unique in gameplay, in skill set, in hair color. These guys have it all. The Victory Royale, especially here in championship first day, Global Championship first day, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll be honest, I feel like they were a little quiet throughout the day. I wasn't really keeping a close eye on Yamzo and Rise, but of course, last game of the day, they gotta be like, hey, by the way, guys, like, we're one of the best teams here, by the way.
Yeah, 100%, man. The Ginger Giants, hey? These guys, look, you said a bit quiet. I had seen them sort of within almost every end game, right, towards the back end, right? You said, you know, he had the double 0-point games or whatnot, but then the rest of it was very consistent, exactly what you expect to see from the Yamzo and Rise. They're one of the teams I love the most from NA, right? Because tactically, they are sound, right? They are as good tactically as any other team in the world. And when they are feeling confident, when they are in their rhythm, they are so good, and they showed it there in that last game.
Yamzo's always been one of those guys, right, that is just ridiculously confident. And it's not in like a cocky way, it's just he knows what he can do.
He's good.
And now they're like, hey, look, kind of what he's saying, once we figured it out, it's easy. It's not necessarily easy. They are just that good.
Yeah, and I mean, I want to point out the fact that, you know, they mentioned that, yeah, sure, the first game we were a little bit nervous. And a lot of the times we talk about experience being that, oh, they've been to these in-person event before. And that's why some of those players that have that experience come in and they're sort of ready. But the fact that they were able to adapt and get comfortable in just a short amount of time, right? We only played 5 games today, and they were talking like they were very, very comfortable towards the end of it. So that is impressive in its own right.
But that comes with having a game plan, right? And that's the difference between them and a lot of other teams, just in compared to Fortnite in general, is these guys come ready. And when you have a game plan that you can trust, you just have to be confident, right? Because you know you follow that game plan, it's going to take you far, and that's exactly what these guys can do.
Absolutely. Let's do this. Let's take a look at our standings. Remember, we want to end the day in top 25 to go straight on through to Sunday. Real quick, Vivid, I am not good at reading. What's that? What is that? What do you say? What's the name up there in the first place?
Hey, Livin, let's take the facts here, right? I'm a little short. Have a little trouble with the top shelf sometimes.
Okay.
Can you go ahead and read out first place from all the way up there,
guys.
all the way up there?
All right.
Who's
so
that?
in first place, you have Agent Cold and Dig Acorn. They have been phenomenal. Yes, 325 points. First place.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got them. Now, what's crazy to me, let's talk about the overall of this top 10, right? I would have expected a lot more EU names in general, but that's not the case. Now, we have some high-profile ones in there, Queasy, Venos, Seti, and Cammy. But still, NA deciding to show up on day 1.
Yeah, NA had a very good day. I'm very, very proud of everybody. I think Acorn and Cole definitely proved that low ground is pretty much theirs, especially when it comes to finding the eliminations, when it comes to finding the great rotations that they actually do through some of those mid games. Some of them they just weren't even building. So shout out to Acorn for making some of those calls. And obviously, Cold, he'll always find you an elimination.
100%, right? And even similar for Yomzo and Rise towards the back end of them games, right? There were a couple of those games, I think it was game 3. We saw them try to look up for hype, and they were ready, they wanted to go for it. Queasy and Veno up there, started spraying them. But when you're an IGO as good as Rise is, you're not concerned about that. Cool, we can't play for high. I'll just play mid ground and low ground just as well. And that's exactly what they've done today.
You'd love to see it. Now, our next question obviously has to be, who's going through? We know the top 25 will be moving on to Sunday. Let's take a look at a list of the 25 players that have qualified. A couple of names, let's just call them out. Obviously, we saw some of the big ones. I wanted to quickly highlight Zagu right here and Peppo Clip. Obviously, we saw them back in the days of Invitational. For them, though, back then, day 2 didn't quite hit as hard. But now, making it through to Sunday, they have time to prepare, and hopefully they'll bring some heat.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited to actually see what they bring on day number 3. We also saw some very cool strategies from them throughout the day, you know, farming some of that surge. Very, very cool from them. But talking about some of the smaller regions, I mean, Alex and Worthy, 6th place from the OCE region. Very impressive.
Alex is one of my favorite players to watch. Such an electric player, so entertaining. At any given moment, this guy can turn it on and just absolutely storm and roll for anyone. Worthy as well. When I spoke to them, they said they were struggling a bit, right? It's a 25-hour flight for them, right, to get it over here. And they said, yeah, we're feeling a bit tired, but, you know, give us some good sleep and we'll be able to get into our lobby and show you what we can do. And that's what they're doing here today.
So now that we've kind of concluded the first 5 games, how are you guys feeling about the competition? Obviously, it's pretty evident there's a lot of duos that are still holding some things back, right? Whether that be they held them back and now they're going to lower bracket, or they're in the top 25. They can hold them till Sunday. Did day 1 meet your expectations, Vivid?
Yeah, I feel like so. And again, I want to kind of bring up the regional aspect of the global championship. Going actually into finals from the upper bracket, we have 12 EU teams, 8 NA teams, 2 Asia teams, and then 1 each for Middle East, Asia, or not Asia, Brazil, and OCE. So pretty rounded out, right? Regional representation from every single one of those going into the finals from the upper bracket.
Yeah, someone from everywhere stepped up, seemingly, and I think that's what you sort of would have expected. I think we always come into these competitions and think, you know, we sort of stack the biggest names up there and think, oh, this team's going to fall, that team's going to fall. There's always going to be some form of disappointment, and I think there will be some teams that thought, you know what, this hasn't been the best day for us. Yeah, we have the lower bracket, but we wanted to get it done in the upper. But even with that being said, I think I've definitely seen what I expected to see from a lot of the better teams, the better players, the big names, the fan favorites, of course. Even from what we've seen from the crowd here today, when they were more in there, a lot of people gone to the toilet, it seems. But when they were here, right, the noise was crazy. So I think all in all, man, the players who will be playing tomorrow definitely have to come in and maybe adjust some things, but it's been a great day.
For sure. Let's take a look at some of those players. We'll start kind of on the bubble. And this final game was a fight for that top 25 spot. Ultimately, it was iDrop and Mappy that do make it through to the grand finals on Sunday. But take a look at some of these names here down to 34th that are going to be we'll be seeing go tomorrow. Fahad actually for one moment overtook the 25th spot, and it looked like it was going to be locked in, but just barely falling short. A single point making the difference.
How do we have two teams a single point behind 25th there? In that 33rd spot, I saw Pink and Vika. I want to talk about them very, very quickly because I'm expecting that they will have the opportunity to be uncontested in the lower bracket tomorrow. So I'm assuming it'll be a little bit better of a day for them.
Yeah, 100%, right? They're more accustomed to sort of dealing with that situation where they'll have access to all the loot, right? And all that space in that area. But of course, if you are any of these teams, they will be feeling a bit disappointed. You have to be able to just mentally reset, come back into tomorrow. I think the big thing is, it's obviously going to be a very different lobby tomorrow. We have a whole new set of teams coming in, a bunch of players who may have been contested today, uncontested, like in the case of Pink and Vico. Some players who maybe were uncontested today might be contested tomorrow, right? So it's like, you know, you're almost coming into not a whole different tournament, but it's going to feel that way in the lobby at times.
Is there more pressure going into tomorrow? Obviously, the 25 in the lower bracket have been watching. They've been learning. They've been trying to figure things out. Players that have gone from today now to the lower bracket, is that more pressure? Is it maybe like, okay, I'm warmed up, so let me just kind of change a couple things and we're good?
I think from a format-wise, it has to be more pressure, right? Like, it just has to be. But more games, right? 5 games under their belt now on the international stage. They got to be feeling a little bit more comfortable when it comes to the setups, the crowd, and the lights.
Yeah, I think there'll be more pressure because, of course, these teams were expected to go through. They were the upper bracket teams, right? A lot of the lower bracket teams, some of those guys don't have that LAN experience. But for the teams who didn't quite do it today, in your head, you're thinking, oh, top 25, that's pretty easy. I can get that. You didn't, right? So now you're almost second-guessing yourself. It's not easy to get top 25.
Yeah, this is, I mean, what? 75 of the best duos in the world, right? This was going to be a difficult task. Some duos took full advantage. I'm looking at you guys in EU. You know who you are. Queasy Vano, Sandy Cammy. But still, we have to keep focused, right? We cannot skip a beat. Now, we're going to take a little break here because Kelly is standing by in the Creator Lounge with none other than Peach Cobbler.
That is right, Zeke. Peach Cobbler here joining me. Thank you so much. Day one is now over. How has it been for you?
Oh my gosh, it's been absolutely amazing. It's kind of like just a big teaser for what's to come.
Oh, yeah. I mean, tomorrow, speaking of what's to come, we have the lower bracket now joining the bottom 25 teams here. Is there any team coming into tomorrow that we haven't seen today that you're excited for?
Oh my gosh, definitely Clicks and Epic Whale. Some of my favorites for a long time now.
Oh, yeah. You were actually just telling me before we went live that you've been going to Fortnite tournaments since the World Cup. What has that been like watching Fortnite grow and evolve?
It's honestly been such a blessing. Like, I feel like each year Epic just steps it up one level after the next, and it got me hooked on seeing the live events. Like, being here is nothing like being at home.
And speaking of Epic Whale, you were actually sitting behind the parents. What is it like to see, you know, just these emotional moments and the people that are so passionate, just like yourself?
Oh my gosh, it definitely passes on like through you. Like, they were crying, I started crying. I was like, I didn't even know who Epic was at the time, but just to see that passion from the parents supporting and then like watching him compete the way that he did was just beautiful.
Oh, and we got to watch some incredible competition today. Was there any surprises for you?
Oh my gosh, I feel like Fortnite in general is just full of surprises. Like the loot pool or what people land on. A lot of the 50-50s had me like jaw-dropping shocked, and it was just exciting to see Kanata go against Malabuka and Thomas, and just like it was amazing. Very hype.
I know. I can't believe that it's already over. I just want more, and we'll get more tomorrow. But Peach Cobbler, thank you so much for joining me here in the Creator Lounge. Where can people find you online?
It's the Peach Cobbler anywhere. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you again. And guys, I believe we're heading back to you, Zeke.
You are. Hi. Thanks again to Peach Cobbler for hanging out and all of our creators that stopped by. We do truly appreciate that. We have to set expectations going into tomorrow. We don't want to get too kind of deep into it because we'll have all day tomorrow to break all of it down. But now that we know which duos will be moving to tomorrow, I kind of wanted to kind of get your thoughts. Are there duos in the lower bracket as we take a look at this list? Just give me one from each of you, just a little taste, a little more. Ooh, they're
Mr.
fighting for it.
Savage and Vedil,
Okay.
it has to be, right? You know, Mr. Savage, all the fans in the world, clearly, right? Everybody loves Mr. Savage, and of course the same for Vedil. All the pressure's going to be on them to perform for their fans, and I think they'll deliver.
Hey, Levin, we were hanging out a little bit with some of the fans, and as they were walking around, I believe I heard this multiple times, quote unquote, Clicks is going to win. So I'm sure the arena will be absolutely crazy tomorrow seeing him compete. So I'll be excited for that as well.
I've got to round this out. Agers and Kanata, right? Having this crazy 50-50 off spawn today didn't work out, but that's okay. This is Agers. This is Kanata. They are FNCS champions for a reason. I will put my faith in that hat, of course. As we begin to wrap things up, how did you feel about the day?
Absolutely awesome. I think everybody crushed it out there. It was pretty much exactly what we were hoping for out of an upper bracket, right? I feel like we saw a lot of strategies actually come out, and then some others, you know, it looked like towards the back end of the day, a lot of those top end teams kind of decided to kind of pull it back a little bit, right? And relax. So that means that they're not really putting everything out there, which means that they'll be ready for finals.
Yeah, 100%. I think everything in the serve has been unbelievable. What you'd expect. The crowd has been amazing. I think for me personally, seeing Zeke, you know, sort of on the stage for the stage, you feel right, the lights go down, everyone's cheering. He looked like the coldest man in all of Denmark in that moment, man. He just looked way too cool. I think more of that from you, Zeke, and I'd be happy.
Okay, anyway, as we start prepping for tomorrow, why don't we send it up to the cast to get their thoughts on the day?
Thoughts? I have so many of these thoughts from watching the first 3 games in the crowd, this amazing crowd that's been so great all day long, to casting these final 2. All I really got to say, Taco, is for those 25 teams that are playing again tomorrow, look at it as glass half full. You have another opportunity to make your dreams come true. Just don't take it lightly.
Look, the lower bracket was already looking pretty spicy as is, so seeing some of the teams that are going to be joining them after today's competition, it is going to be insane for tomorrow's lower bracket matches. And one of my favorite parts personally about today was being up here in the commentary booth the entire time and just hearing the moments of cheering, the crowd chants. I cannot wait to see what some of these fans bring for us tomorrow in the lower bracket matches, because you have to expect that is the last opportunity. You either make it through in the top 25 of our lower bracket tomorrow, or that's it. You're going home. You're not going to see what the Global Championship finals lobby is going to consist of on Sunday.
Yeah, this is something that I think we've been waiting for such a long time. 5 more games in the lower bracket, but that's going to do it for myself and the best Taco. Back to my best friends on the stage.
Whoa, Jacob, I am your best friend. Okay, that was Jacob PR, that was the best Taco, and can't forget Monster D-Face as well for calling some of the shots for us today. But that is it. Now we set our eyes on tomorrow. The lower bracket kicks off same time, same great place. We'll have so much to talk about tomorrow, so make sure you do not miss it. Don't forget as well, grand finals on Sunday. Global champions will be crowned. Thank you so much for watching Fortnite fam. As always, we love you. Keep yourself safe, and we'll see you on that battle bus. Beep, beep.
Allô? Tu m'entends là? Ah ouais, je m'entends.
Ok, la ref.
Tu joues, tu fais quoi?
Non, c'est bon. Bon, Twitch, on cache parce que c'est la fin là. Vas-y, je vais jouer. Bon.
On est 7 personnes sur le live.
Il y a combien?
Et en tout, j'ai déjà tout de suite combien de vues on a fait.
Il y a combien de vues?
Attends, je regarde. Alors, attention, suspense. Vas-y, tu dis combien?
Je dis 50, 60.
73. Tu m'as entendu?
Hein? Combien?
Alban.
Combien? Wow!
Alors, 73 vues. Et ça s'affichait 176 fois dans la barre de recherche. C'est super bien. Et ben, une statistique qui vont voler.
Bon. Je pars plus, je spawn.
Ouais. Burger and burger.
Ok.
Well, aujourd'hui c'était un très bon live. N'est-ce pas, Alban?
Ouais, tout à fait, ouais, tu as tout à fait raison.
C'était un drive.
Quand tu me pètes les couilles avec
Tu l'as arrêté, hein?
Pardon. Ouais, je vois. 14 000 XP, c'est 18 000, 20 000, 22 000, 23 000.
Comment tu donnes tout ça, ouais?
27 000. Je sais pas.
C'était dans un véhicule?
Bah apparemment oui. Ah ouais? Bah c'est quand je suis dans un véhicule.
Tu peux faire tes quêtes?
Non.
C'est quoi ta map?
Je sais pas, c'est une map.
S'il te plaît, comment sera en game? Mets-la dans tes favoris.
Mais je l'ai déjà dans mes favoris.
Bah, enlève et remets-la comme ça, elle sera en première. Mais oui, elle est incroyable. C'est dingue. Oh, jamais, on m'a jamais. It is a burger and it's a plan. Et demain on fait un live, attends.
Ouais. Demain, ouais, je vais voir. Mais demain, je peux venir chez moi. Oh, je l'ai full piece. Oh, je l'ai full piece contrôle.
Demain, je sais pas. Demain, on va refaire le même live.
Bah ouais, demain, ouais. Faut juste voir à quelle heure ça commence demain.
Je dis, je viendrai. Je verrai si je peux venir. Si je viens, on fera live 14h, 18h en vrai. Même plus si tu veux.
Ouais, je sais pas. La mort.
En vrai, il y a des mecs qui ont mis des commentaires, ouais, c'est bien.
Ouais. Tac. En plus là il est pas fini. Oh merde, j'ai oublié.
T'as pas les combien?
Je suis pas allé 164.
C'est bien, ouais.
Je pense j'arrive ou pas au niveau 200 avant la fin de la saison?
Ouais. Tryhard tous les jours et quand tu fais un live tous les jours. Il reste 3 semaines déjà.
Quoi? C'est 3 semaines déjà?
Il marche bien mon micro.
Là il marche bien. Bah là il marche plus hein.
Il marche trop bien.
Non mais là tout à l'heure non. Tout à l'heure il marchait plus.
Mais toi aussi genre t'as des... Genre toi ça fait des fois genre aussi ça bug un petit peu comme ça buguait moi tout à l'heure. Mais là j'ai mes écouteurs parce que ça buguait trop.
Bah là ouais c'est bien. C'est mieux.
Oui, je ma voix s'est modifiée au bout d'un moment. Fait tous du...
Je suis en train de foutre piston.
Je vais voir comment on a dit. C'est chiant parce que tu vois j'ai fait une playlist. Ça se range pour les vidéos les plus longues, pas pour les vidéos les... Comment dire?
Quoi déjà top 7?
Ouais, il y a 7 personnes sur le live.
Ah bah bienvenue alors hein. Bienvenue les gens. Abonnez-vous à notre chaîne, ouais, on va faire plein de vidéos.
Ouais,
on va faire
abonnez-vous,
plein de lives, vraiment, on va faire plein de lives, plein de vidéos. On va faire peut-être des défis, on verra. Pour l'instant là on fait que des lives, après on fera des vidéos bientôt. Hein.
Abonnez-vous à notre chaîne. Oh, en vrai?
Sans abonnés, je veux dire que ça
en vrai? Oh, on a 81 vues. En vrai, il y a moyen, demain, genre, je viens chez toi, on fait une vidéo.
Ah ouais?
On pourrait en faire.
Bah ouais. Faut voir. Si tu viens chez moi, quoi, demain. Tu me dis hein, s'il marque des trucs, attends, je vais regarder. Non, il y a personne qui marque.
Faudrait juste regarder.
Je suis level 300.
D'accord.
Wesh. Eh, il y a des gens qui ont marqué.
Quoi?
Il y a un gars qui a marqué, je suis level 360. 367. Jouer.
C'est qui lui?
Champion.
Qui est lui?
Je sais pas. Invisible.
Invisible.
Ok. T'es champion?
Ajouté comme modérateur.
Je suis élite. Ça va. Non, ajoute-le pas comme modo, hein, frérot, on connaît pas.
Ils peuvent juste supprimer les commentaires.
Non, ils peuvent faire des autres dingueries, ils peuvent poster des vidéos.
On va faire. Je connais plein de gens, genre ils mettent pratiquement tout le monde modérateur. C'est juste genre tu peux supprimer tout le commentaire. Et genre tu peux mettre Genre, tu peux mettre des liens, tu peux mettre genre des trucs comme. Pas des noms. Ouais, bah, je m'en rappelle. Mais j'ai pas le.
Le
Ah non,
balai,
attends,
par contre, il est
genre là.
incroyable.
Ah ouais. Lui, il est bien en vrai. Il est trop beau. Combien de mètres sur le play?
Trajectoire parfaite. Oh, les yeux.
Et c'est pas grave. En vrai, il y a 5 personnes sur le live. En vrai, c'est bien.
Ouais, ouais, c'est bien, c'est bien. 4 vues maintenant. 24 personnes.
Bon, on va dire 4 personnes parce qu'il y a moi aussi avec mon team. Et on peut pas compter par contre sur le compte.
Tac. Espace gold, je suis obligé de le prendre.
Ouais, mais incroyable d'avoir une nouvelle World Cup.
Bah, c'est une World Cup.
Mais je sais, c'est pour ça que je dis quand même incroyable. Enfin, c'est pas une grosse World Cup, mais genre, quand ça se passe, genre,
Bah, si,
ensemble et
quand
tout,
même, frérot, c'est une grosse, hein.
c'est pas non plus le plus gros truc que je fais, mais.
Bah,
Elle est
si,
bien.
frérot, c'est la plus grosse, hein.
Non, la plus grosse, c'était celui qui avait fait à l'époque.
De la toute première, en vrai, la plus grosse. Ils avaient mis
La seule.
masse thune dedans. Ouais, ça va, c'est pas mal. C'est un peu comme toutes les années, mais.
Genre, en fait, ce qui est bien, c'est que ça dure 3 jours, quoi.
Bah, ouais.
Genre, ça, c'est vraiment bien. En vrai, tu regrettes pas d'avoir fait un compte YouTube.
Tac, boum. Pourquoi j'ai zéro...
Mec, il y a un mec qui a dit on peut jouer, je suis champion.
Ah non,
Déjà,
mais
tu
c'est
joues
ça.
avec lui.
Champion. Je suis élite, frérot. Je sais pas. C'est en obligé, ouais. Peut-être demain matin. Enfin, je sais pas demain. Peut-être pas aujourd'hui. Parce que, frérot, aujourd'hui... là, c'est soirée. Vas-y, frérot. Je suis pas un bon level. Aïe, plusieurs quand j'ai eu. Comment ça? Ah, j'ai plus de ça, on a fini. Non. Non, mais non, mais je m'en bats les couilles. Je vais prendre ça. 2 secondes. Je vais faire un truc. Ah. MVP. Ah, ça marche plus. Oh, j'ai spawn où je suis mort. Oh, j'ai pas de chance. Du coup, ça fait mal. Hein. Oh là. Vas-y, je vais y arriver. Allô, Nolan?
Ouais, je vais juste obligé de remettre mon micro. parler, t'inquiète pas.
C'est où?
Ouais, je suis même plus 3 secondes. Ça, je vais voir. Alors, je compte plus album. Suspense.
71 vues.
Non. Bah non, ça c'est... Combien de vues, toi? Je dis combien de vues tu dis.
Je sais pas. Moi, ça me marque 70,
92.
je crois. Moi, ça me marque
Non, mais genre,
70.
c'est quand ça s'analyse. Par exemple, si tu vas dessus pendant un petit moment, tu vas voir, ça va vite monter. On est à 92 vues. Sur YouTube Studio. Ouais, on a bientôt les 100 vues. On va bientôt les 100 vues.
Imagine, on a les 100 vues, là.
On a bientôt les 100 vues.
Les 100 vues. Ça fait combien de temps, là, que je suis en live?
Ça fait 2h40.
Ouais. Pas mal.
Ça s'arrête pas tant qu'on n'a pas les 100 vues. Au moins.
Mais en titre, on change le titre et on met on ne dirait pas tant qu'on n'a pas les 100 vues.
Non, 120 en fait, 130.
Non, 100.
Et là, on va live jusqu'à...
Mais 100 vues, mais 100
On va live
vues.
jusqu'à quelle heure en fait?
Je sais pas, 21h. Ah merde, il est 21h.
21h30. C'est dans 25 minutes.
Je sais pas.
Ok, vas-y. Je vais me mettre... en dev. Ah, je me sais pas. Mettre entre parenthèses. Ça arrête. Oh. Allemand. Les 130 vues en fait.
Non, mais 100 vues, frérot.
Le titre est trop long.
Bah enlève live, on regarde la cup machin là. Wesh.
On veut live chill. Et je mets trop de temps. J'ai même pas mis des...
Oh, t'es plus plus.
Ouais, je suis un mec qui fait que me mettre des cœurs.
Ah ouais.
Je te promets. Il y a vraiment des mecs qui me regardent et me tiennent. Ça fait trop plaisir.
Oh là là.
Ah, les
Toi, tu mets pas, hein? Moi, je mets pas.
Non, je mets pas, je te promets.
Moi
Je te promets, je mets pas.
Moi non plus. Là, sur le live, frérot, je fais rien.
Ah, il y en a plus.
Ah si.
Ça commence. En vrai, c'est tout bien, genre, j'ai trop. Je te promets, ma story, elle me resserre à la Discord, là. Je peux travailler avec toi. Et c'est trop bien. En vrai, ça fait vraiment plaisir. J'ai trop le sourire, ouais.
Ouais.
Je suis trop heureux, wesh. Voilà.
Wesh. Elle a été bonne ou pas la map? Là on peut changer sa pioche. On peut changer sa pioche avec la hache, les diatantes et tout.
Ah bah voilà, tu l'avoue. De toute façon, je suis pas. Je me rouille.
Je sais pas en fait si elle était bonne.
Ça peut être à combien de vues? En mode, on n'a pas monté.
Moi, en tout cas, sur TikTok, là, il y a une vidéo que j'ai fait, là, il y a 26 minutes, il y a 23 minutes.
96 vues.
Déjà,
On est bientôt à bon.
ouais.
Ouais, je suis bientôt 100 vues. En vrai, c'est incroyable 100 vues sur Android.
Bah ouais, frérot.
Dis-toi qu'on a moins de 17 ans.
Bah
Tu te
ouais.
rends compte?
Ah. Ah.
On
Ah, le truc des...
a même pas 19 ans.
Ah, il y a des patchs.
C'est pas là.
Tout a été patch maintenant. Putain.
Je vais spammer CTRL R pour voir combien ils sont bientôt.
Ah, le bâtard.
Ah, on n'a pas monté. Je te dis à le voir qu'on fasse les 100 vues, ok? Les 100 vues en fait 2 jours. En plus, ma miniature est pas incroyable. En vrai, avoue que le skin sur ton écran de chargement, il est bien.
Il faut avoir 500 abonnés. Donc j'ai dépassé les 500 abonnés et je ne vois toujours pas l'icône live. Je vous
Ou alors, regarde, on a 100 vues.
Donc les amis, vous voyez que j'ai 580 abonnés et quand je vais sur le plus, il n'y a que appareil photo
Tu vois?
et MV. Il n'y a pas l'icône live. Vous avez une réponse? J'ai besoin de votre aide. J'ai fait un compte exprès pour les lives. Pour faire des lives, il faut avoir 500 abonnés. Donc j'ai dépassé les 500 abonnés.
Tu m'entends bien, attends, là?
Ah ouais.
Oh, avant, il y a un mec qui a dit yo, c'est Thibaut in chat.
YouTube Ninja. Toi, frérot,
Moi, je
tu connais bien,
réponds,
hein.
wesh.
Ah,
En vrai,
frérot.
c'est bien, on a beaucoup de
C'est
monde.
incroyable, par contre, vraiment.
Je te
Vous êtes
promets,
trop
c'est
sympa.
pas
Et Thibaut
bon.
Incha, toi, tu connais bien Sly. Sly. C'est un monstre. J'adore Sly, vraiment. Tu peux pas imaginer. Et toi, si tu l'aimes, Thibaut Incha, il restera toujours avec nous. Apparemment, il y a le
Le micro, il
skin
baisse
là.
un petit peu.
Le skin mesclé qui va sortir bientôt dans la boutique en forme Halloween. Normalement, il va faire une vidéo. Une nouvelle vidéo. Par contre, le problème, c'est qu'il fait pas beaucoup de vidéos. Sinon, c'est incroyable. Regardez, attendez. Slide. Tac. Regardez.
Cherche quoi?
Regardez, je suis abonné, moi. Attendez.
Ah, tu as Slide.
Je suis abonné à Slide, moi. Comme ça.
Slide.
Slide, c'est un youtubeur.
Slideys?
Non, Slide. J'arrive pas à cadrer, mais en tout cas, je sais que je suis abonné. Ouais, regardez.
Allez. Est-ce que je l'ai changé? Enfin, est-ce qu'on a les 100 vues? Oh, 99 vues, Alban. 99, retiens. Et les potes. Oh, il va falloir qu'on
Bon, je suis
monte
abonné.
notre live, là. Fortnite, merde. Oh, c'est une catastrophe.
Il y a 3 semaines, il y a un mois.
En vrai, est-ce que t'aimes bien YouTube? Est-ce que tu trouves que c'est mieux?
Ça va, ouais.
Est-ce que t'as déjà regardé ou pas YouTube Studio? T'as vu, c'est bien mieux fait, hein.
Et que 3 spectateurs sur votre live.
C'est bien, ça y est. Comment dire?
Ça va, ouais, ça va. Et toi, Rio? Ça va, Rio? Bon, frérot, tu
Salut,
penses
Rio.
quoi? Salut, Rio, hein, frérot. Bienvenue dans le live. Bah, moi, ça va, nickel. On a bientôt les 100 vues. C'est incroyable.
Normalement, à ton avis, ça veut dire quoi?
Ah, merci
Oh, il a
frérot,
dit j'ai ma bonne
Isabo.
frérot.
Ah, Isabo, ah, merci frérot, t'es un bon toi.
Oh, merci beaucoup. Vas-y, merci.
Oh, frérot, là, on
Il
est
a
en
même
train
liké
de
la vidéo.
gagner des abonnés. Oh,
Et tu
incroyable.
sais que Rio,
Oh,
c'est
merci.
notre centième jeu.
Putain, c'est incroyable. On a 8 abonnés, frérot. 8 abonnés. On a 8 abonnés.
Ton micro est bug. Ton micro est bug, wesh.
Ah ouais? Merde. On a 8 abonnés.
On est pas 100 vues. On est presque. Il faut que quelqu'un de moi.
Ah, merci, merci. Toi aussi, t'es un BG, frérot. Toi aussi, toi aussi.
Ça fait 2 semaines qu'on a commencé.
Ouais, ça
Et genre,
fait
de
2
base, avant, on
semaines.
les faisait de live.
Normalement, moi, je faisais des live Twitch. Et du coup, bah, je me suis venue sur YouTube.
Des vidéos et tout, si tu veux bien me suivre.
Oh, on a 5 spectres. C'est pas notre record, hein, mais c'est quand même beaucoup, quand même, 5 spectres.
Notre record, c'est 8 spectres. On l'a fait tout à l'heure.
Moi, fort, ça va, ouais.
T'es prêt? Je vais regarder si on a
Ça
dépassé
va,
les
je suis
100
pas si
vues.
fort, mais...
Attention. Yes! Yes!
Attends,
100 vues! Si!
Je vais... ça va, je suis pas si fort que ça,
D'ailleurs, je t'ai envoyé...
Quoi? Tu m'as envoyé sur Discord?
Est-ce qu'il y a moyen... Ouais. Est-ce qu'il y a moyen que tu coupes ton micro et tu souffles dedans, tu fais des trucs... Là, c'est comme ça.
Attends.
Tu coupes et tu souffles dedans.
Non, mais attends. Non, mais là, c'est mieux ou pas?
D'ailleurs, moi, là, j'ai soufflé dedans, ça va mieux.
Attends,
Attends, ça. C'est en train de charger.
faut que je fasse... Faut que je montre à Rio que...
T'es fort.
Mon level, il n'y a pas une map. Frérot, j'arrive pas à me repérer avec ça, là. Il n'y a pas une... La 6-9, par exemple. C'est vrai, tac. Tu vas voir, Rio. Je suis pas si chaud que ça, mais ça va. Ça va. Attends, je vais essayer de faire une carbale. Ah, j'ai failli faire une carbale. Là encore, je suis pas chaud, frérot. Ah, merci. Donc, tu vois, ça c'est un peu mon level. Hein. Je fais quelques games. Bah, je suis élite, moi, du coup, voilà. Après aussi, j'ai un peu fait des tournois, mais ça va. Tu vois. Je suis pas ma vie à Fortnite, mais voilà quoi. Aïe. Donc voilà. Voilà, voilà. Allô, Nolan? Putain, il a quitté. Il s'est fait daroned? Ouais. Bon. Attends, j'ai dû arrêter à cause de ma mère. Ouais, il s'est fait daroned. Putain, il s'est fait daroned. Oh là, je suis tout seul. Tu veux que je fasse quoi? Je suis sur portable. On a combien de vues? Bientôt les... Bon. Tu veux jouer ensemble avec toi? Bah pas maintenant, désolé, mais peut-être demain matin. Tu vois, tu m'envoies... comment je pourrais faire? De toute façon, demain à 14h, on va être en live. 15h, tu viens à 15h sur le live, tu vois. Tu me dis ton pseudo, t'inquiète, je t'ajoute direct. Et voilà, parce que là... Hein? Comment ça? Je joue avec lui. Bah, tu joues avec Rio, tu le connais? Putain, on peut pas. C'est toi? C'est toi, Mathéo Pro, là? Attends. Wesh. Merde. Tu le boss pas rêvé mieux pour début de chaîne. Non, c'est Skitali. Alors, Skitali, c'est mon frérot. On a créé la chaîne il y a à peine 2 semaines. 80 vues, putain, oui. Je sais pas combien on a vu. Je sais pas combien on a de vues parce que moi, c'est décalé là. 80 vues, frérot. Allez. Merde. Wesh. Wesh. Okay. Bon, moi je vais partir demain. Ok, merci, t'es un boss, frérot. T'es le boss. T'es le boss, frérot. Allez, tchuss. Salut Rio. Au revoir Rio. Tchuss. Adieu Rio. Ah, il était sympa. C'est cool. C'est cool qu'il y ait des gens comme ça aussi sympas. Bon, moi je vais quitter. Nolan, est-ce que j'arrête le live là? J'attends au moins que ça soit bien 3 heures de live et au moins après j'arrête le live, je pense. Ok. Bon les refs. Je pense que je vais arrêter le live ici. Enfin, je pense. Nolan, j'arrête le live ou pas? Nolan, est-ce que le live? Tu me dis. Ok. J'arrête vite le live bientôt là. Comment ça fait directement 3 heures. Bien tout pile. Vous inquiétez pas. Donc Twitch il est juste là. Regardez, bon je vais mettre mon jeu pour l'instant. Oh c'est 3 heures. Allez tchou.